Another day of mandatory minicamp for the Buffalo Bills. Do stay tuned. We'll get the latest from today. Sal Capaccio joining the show a little bit later on at 5:30. But for more on yesterday, Sal does have a piece at our website, WGR550.com. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tomorrow night. Today, however, multiple reports do have the NHL moving forward with the investigation into Mike Babcock and the events that took place in Columbus back in 2023. There does not appear to be any timeline for how quickly this can be carried out, as if the Oilers do decide to no longer pursue Babcock for their head coaching position, the investigation will not happen, much like in 2023 when Babcock resigned from the Blue Jackets. We do, though, have a finals game tonight. It is in the NBA Game 4 in MSG as the Knicks host San Antonio. New York does hold that 2-1 series lead. Game time is set for 8:30. And then in baseball, Bison's home tonight versus Syracuse. First pitch at 6:35. You can listen to that game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. While in the majors, the Yankees currently up on Cleveland 6-3 in the 6th. The Jays host Philly at 7:07, and at 7:10, the Mets, they're home against the St. Louis Cardinals. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Uh-oh. Guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody?
Monday, Tuesday, hump day is halfway. It's Mike Schopp.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
And the Bulldog.
Hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on. I know you can hear me.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
On WGR.
Hump day.
Sports Radio 550.
Also seems to be, and there's probably some national kumquat day or something else like that. There's always that. Also seems to be get your World Cup bets in day. Survivor, a pool sprouted up here at the office, and who knows what else. But today might be the day where we woke up and went like, oh, that's happening tomorrow. This is it. You know, we had some important reports of players being frisked.
Right.
If we didn't catch that, because we've blocked all of those messengers.
Officials not being allowed in the country.
Now we have
some of that.
So one of your friends told you, reminded you that the World Cup is happening
I
now.
did. I slept very late today, so I literally did wake up to, hey, do you want to be in a pool? Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And
you said yes.
I'm sure. And then, you know, I did some other stuff. I was away from my phone for a little while. I only had my iPad, and I get messages from Joe on my iPad, but the thread that started with all the people that are in the draft, obviously all the people are not Apple consumers, so that wasn't showing up on my iPad. And then, like, suddenly I looked at my phone and I had like 14 messages, and I'm like, oh my god, what? You know, someone in an accident? What? And I'm like, oh, this is what I signed up for. I'm in a draft now.
Yes,
I have to.
You are so in a draft.
I have to pay attention for the rest of the afternoon. Ugh. And then I didn't. You know me. I didn't pay attention. Joe, you want to be in a pool? $25. Sure. I didn't. What the format? What? Nothing. So no idea it was going to be a draft. I actually got through the two picks my first two picks from home and thought, well, at least I'm done with that. I didn't realize it was 4 rounds, which makes sense. The number of people and the number of teams that it would go on 4 rounds. And
that's all the teams.
Yeah. So
4 times 12.
Now I'm just sort of like still like. Ugh,
How did you pick the teams? Let me see here. I have it right here. Belgium and Senegal. You picked 11th.
Yeah.
At the turn.
Mm-hmm.
Belgium and Senegal.
Belgium.
How did you pick those teams?
Belgium looked like, the best team left.
Based on what?
The FanDuel odds.
Winning the tournament?
Winning the tournament, winning a round, winning whatever. I was like, that looks like I'm right. Belgium. I've heard of Belgium.
You've heard of Belgium.
I've heard of Belgium. Okay.
They've been a little bit dangerous in this thing before.
Wasn't Lukaku on Belgium, or do I have that wrong? Yes. So I remember seeing him there when he was on Man United, maybe last round of this, World Cup 4 years ago. Yeah, fine, I'll take Belgium.
Formerly Everton, I believe.
Okay, yes, that's right. Lots of other places too, I think, and I don't think he's still active.
Like for the Buffalo Stallions, I used to go to those games in the odd.
I don't know. Maybe he's in MLS now, and I don't know it.
He might have scored against the San Francisco Fog in the odd one Sunday afternoon. I was there.
Where I was picking, when I first realized what I had, suddenly I guess I better do a little. Let me look at the odds. Let me get an idea what I want to do here. I thought, okay, and I'm like, oh boy, I hope I can get the Netherlands, because I even had a meme, like an orange, like a cartoon orange, and it's I'm like, I'm ready to play the game. Like, because some of you guys were sending, you weren't saying who you were taking. You sent out a what the hell?
I did.
Who did you pick? I don't even remember.
Argentina.
Argentina. Yeah. Okay. So
at 5.
Yeah. So all right, and then of course Netherlands got picked before it.
I sent out a GIF.
Yeah, that's
Messi holding the World Cup from the last time they had the World Cup.
Yeah.
And being carried on somebody's shoulders.
Yep.
I did that. I picked him for the colors.
So okay, that's as good a way as any. And really, my favoritism towards the Netherlands is basically that they wear orange.
Yeah, Argentina for me is the best uniform in soccer.
So it's not complicated. But anyway, I just thought that was the best. Then the two picks later, because Brian Koziel was after me. He did his thing at the turn.
That guy is sharp.
I took Senegal because one of the only things I have read about the World Cup featured like a sentence, and honest to God, it could have been written by one of your kids. I have no idea what the source of this was, but I don't even remember what the sentence said. I just know the spirit of the thing was, watch out for Senegal. They could make some noise. I'm like, okay, well, I'm picking the 14th team here, or 13th team here. I'll take 14th. Yeah, I'll take Senegal.
Quite possibly not written by an actual person at all.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Maybe that's better.
Maybe even it's possible I was reading some story about the Senegal women's team playing in some African tournament or something. I don't even know what I saw something that said Senegal might be good. I'm in.
Yeah, that's good enough.
Yeah. I mean, how much more homework am I going to do?
I'm excited to end up with one of the very worst teams.
Let me go find out how their manager uses their subs. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Jim May, I believe, is the manager.
Get out of here.
No, I'm just trying to stuff in as many Stallions references as I can. Show off like soccer knowledge that's not real. Being a real person, I'm not going to be as good at this as a computer would.
Right.
But I'm glad to have it. Argentina, Croatia. I'm on the clock. I'll wait. Mm-hmm. Seems unprofessional to just, we are talking about it. But to make a pick now, people are watching and listening. And if I wait, then that gives you more time to think about who you're going to take next.
Oh, I've got a ton of picks there. And besides,
I think I know my pick.
What am I really doing? I mean, there's not all I know is that Costa Rica's not in, so I can't take them. Because I would take Costa Rica just you know why? Because I've been to Costa Rica twice and I love it there.
The last round, you're taking a country you visited.
Right.
If there is one.
Yeah, I think I might be in trouble there.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. That doesn't make sense. That's not a country.
No.
Well, we'll get back to you on that. Joe Goodberry today at 4 on the Bengals. I'm stretching to say, as we get closer to the season, right? It's still more than 3 months away. But yesterday, talking about the schedule and the standings and these division winner bets and the like, that's a key team. I think if we're going to play the game again with the 1 seed and the playoff, would you take and all the different possibilities for the season, I'm willing to assume the Bills are at least pretty good. Double-digit wins. I want to be able to assume that, to count on that.
Mm-hmm.
But to get to the 1, most years, I'm going to need 14 wins.
At least 13.
I guess I should have looked that up. 12 happened when Tennessee got it.
Yep.
The 13 seconds year, I believe they had 12. Not even have been 17 games yet. I should have looked this up. But I think the problem the Bills might have, well, I'll back into it. First, you have to be better than New England. And I'm not going to be too worried about that. Like, it's possible that New England is trending the right way and the Bills are not. But I'm not going to, like, break down in this sort of analysis by the Patriots, well, they're never going to beat the Patriots. Like, I don't look at it at all like that.
I definitely do not feel like they're never going to beat the Patriots. I think anything is possible, certainly. Like, they could have been the beneficiary largely of that soft schedule and could be looking at a step back. Who knows for sure?
Yeah, I'm not going to. I mean, if you're expecting New England to win the division, of course you can't even start a conversation about the 1 seed and a bye and home field and everything that comes with. You're just talking about getting into the playoffs. And I don't know that. Well, we had this last year too. I don't know that 5, 6, and 7 are that different from each other. So New England is a non-starter for the conversation. So That's over there. I think the AFC West, I feel that probably the top 3 teams there are close enough to each other that one of them doesn't have that 14-win season. Now, Denver just did, and that was not expected, but it was also not expected at all that Kansas City would lose 11 games.
Chiefs were so down, right? Yeah.
So I'm thinking that if you were to rank the divisions by the likelihood that the division winner is the 1 seed, I would put the AFC West last this year because the Chargers are probably pretty good. The Chiefs are probably at least pretty good, and Denver is also pretty good. So I think that there's some attrition there.
I like that that's back in the window for us because when Russell Wilson first got to Denver and Devontae Adams went to the Raiders and Herbert still already wasn't like somewhat of a letdown, which is largely, I think, what he's been. It was. I remember sitting in here with you talking plenty about how great. I know the Chiefs are great, but these other teams, the division's going to cannibalize itself, and that'll be good for me. And of course, that didn't materialize when we expected it, but that doesn't mean it can't ever happen. And maybe we're staring at a year where it actually does. It got flipped around last year enough that Denver ended up on top, of course, and Kansas City had the bad year. So, yeah, I like that. Like, I don't think Kansas City will have a bad year, but maybe 11 or 12 is the best they can expect to do, or any team in that division maybe could expect to do.
Well, that's what I'm saying, too. So then AFC South, I've got Tennessee, no way. Indianapolis, probably not. Jacksonville and Houston, in that last year was 13 and 12. I think they're next. I think Aaron Schatz says Houston is the number 1 seed. That's his prediction. I like Jacksonville more, but I like his, how he thinks. And he thinks they're due for regression. So using his starting point, maybe, and the Bills go to Houston week 1, maybe Houston is they're in the conversation for this. I think, though, the AFC North is the one where you might end up needing the Bengals. Or if the Bengals are great, then the Ravens. You might need them both to be good. And then if Pittsburgh's good too, we talked about them yesterday a little bit, then you could have the AFC West thing where you have 3 teams that are all in each other's way. But if that, I'm not a Pittsburgh fan, and I have respect that Cincinnati is favored 15 times in their 17 games this year. That's a very good sign for them. That's something we'll talk about with Joe Goodberry later. But if they're last year's Bengals again, then the Ravens could be the problem. The Ravens could end up being the number 1 team to prevent the Bills from that goal that they've never achieved yet, that bye. So Cincinnati's, the Bills don't play the Bengals. They do play Baltimore. That's their only game in that division, and that could end up, if this logic holds, being a huge game. It probably will be anyway, but other than the New England games, maybe it's there at the top of the list for this year, Baltimore. So the Bengals could be important.
Yeah, and I'm excited to talk to Joe because we've, like you've already referenced, we've heard, and it's not news. I mean, everyone knows it. The defense has been uneven, to be kind, for a few years now, and really preventing them, that and injuries. I mean, Burrow, had an injury-riddled year. That was 2 years ago now. I'm trying to think or was that last year? He's missed time. That derailed them to an extent. But even if he'd been healthy, who knows with that defense? And that still seems like that's the vibe, but I'm curious what Joe Goodberry thinks about that, following them as closely, because that's a team that's easy. It's been a couple of years since they've been in your hair, and it's kind of it's easy to just be a victim of the moment and sort of go, I don't have to really worry about them anymore. And I don't think that that's right. I mean, we'll see about the defense. Who knows? Maybe the ball bounces their way a few times and they get a turnover even though they've given up 450 yards or something in a game, and they get away with it because that happens in football. So I certainly have a ton of respect for that offense still. Like Burrow, to me, is not – we had a guy yesterday talking about him as his favorite – I think he's the best guy in the league, or he's 1A with Allen or whatever, and I've never felt that way about Burrow. I like Mahomes and Jackson and Allen – just because of their athleticism more. It doesn't have to be right. Burrow is certainly thrown for plenty of yards and has presided over a lethal offense. So he's excellent. I just like a guy that can move around a little more. That doesn't mean you can't, be a super team with him as your quarterback, of course. So they are a big, I don't want to say wild card because that's a certain phrasing, but they're a team to me that really is interesting to think about for this coming season.
He started 8 games last year only.
Okay.
But one of them was here, and that was in December. So I don't remember what the storyline was, but he did play in the game against the Bills when they were already 4-8. And they lost that game 39-34 to the Bills last year. So, yeah, Cincinnati could be important in this. I don't remember anyway, talking so much about when Aaron was on his Houston take. But there's one where... again, you kind of, for the Bills to get the 1 seed, the all-important 1 seed, you do need there to be competition in each other division, like there is in the AFC East, or was last year, that held, I guess, the Bills and the Patriots back to different extents.
Right.
But you want to have at least 2 teams that are, sparring for first place, and maybe they'll beat each other and help you out.
Yeah, Houston and Jacksonville, that's helpful. I don't know what Indy's going to be. This is where you might want to root for Tennessee to improve, that, have that hit, because if they could steal a game off of Houston or Jacksonville, that could be huge. Because that's certainly going to be a matchup that the two playoff, Jacksonville, Houston, would be favored, and maybe even pretty significantly. And if Tennessee could steal a win against them, either of them, ideally even both of them, then all the better for you, because that drags somebody down, and then of course, if you're thinking about the 1 seed from Houston or Jacksonville's perspective, you're hoping the Jets or Dolphins can do that, but neither of those teams, to the Bills or Patriots, but neither of those teams are, I think Houston for now, I feel like is on an upswing. Just because of the draft and the new coach, and if the quarterback has promise, that can fall apart in a hurry. But Miami and the Jets are not, to me, we're not waiting to see if they take a step this year. They're mostly just hoping to not drown. Whereas Tennessee might be, I don't think should be thinking about contending for anything, but they could improve, and that could help, the overall picture for the Bills.
There are a lot of ways to end up in the same headspace, but it's especially upsetting or frustrating, at least disappointing, that the Jets have been so bad for this whole stretch of Allen's years, and the Patriots were pretty bad for most of them, and the Dolphins have been up and down but never great, and the Bills have yet to take advantage of that
right
to this division point. They've had years, have they not, where they swept the division, and it still wasn't because Kansas City was winning every game by 1 point a couple of years ago, and just it's not worked out for them. But they have 2 teams in the division that probably are so far down, you never know, that you want to think you win 4 of those games. When I look at their schedule, that's it for games where I feel like it's kind of It's never exactly this, but stress-free.
Mm-hmm.
It's the 2 Dolphin games and the 2 Jet games. After that, what's the 5th? If you accept those are the weakest 4 games on their schedule, the softest, what's next?
At the Raiders.
Okay, that's probably right. Or else it's what?
I don't even know.
What's that up against?
At Minnesota, maybe, would be next to me.
Yeah, got to be Vegas.
Because everything else, I mean, you're talking about. I mean, Detroit was not a playoff team, but I think they'll rebound. So, I think they're excellent. Chargers, no. Rams, no. Patriots, obviously, no. Yeah, I think it's got to be Vegas and then Minnesota are the other 2 games, and I don't think they're closer to coin flips to me than they are to feeling. I don't know. You didn't say automatic, but comfortable. Jets, Dolphins. I should find my way to winning those games, even if I maybe have my B- or C game. I wouldn't say that about a game in Vegas with the talent they've got on offense now. We'll see. The quarterback is playing by then, whatever. I think, but that's the next game that I would look at as, favorable.
Week 6. Yeah, what's up with that? Why is Ian Hartitz tweeting about Mendoza's first game being week 6? Why wouldn't it be week 1?
I don't know what's going on there.
Too soon to say? Like there's no real evidence yet?
Yeah,
is anybody talking?
I mean I've seen. Yeah, they're doing. I think the entire league is doing mini camps, so they're practicing. I don't know what the coach has said, if anything, Kubiak, the new coach, about what their plan is there.
It's gotta be so hot.
If they're just gonna, it probably is hot. If there's biding time, because Cousins is there, right?
Yes.
So I mean that's certainly a certain kind of baseline. That you can lean on if you want to.
We really haven't talked that much about them, and I haven't really heard that much about them in this way. But for all the different years of even when the Bills were not a part of it, conversations about what the team that drafted the quarterback at 101 should do, it's always play them, unless it's a team that is somehow not terrible, and you can have the luxury of waiting, and maybe you're actually decent and you can sort of slow play it. But even then, you're wasting a year, maybe, of that guy. I don't see the Raiders as any sort of atypical example. Like, they're bad, and they've been nowhere, and whatever Kirk Cousins is or has been, that doesn't affect this for me at all. Like, this is still, you got to play Mendoza. You're in a tough division. You're not expecting to win. You shouldn't be.
I think you want to get him. You want to get him work, I think, is what you want to do.
Get him on the field.
Yep.
I think so. So I wonder if somebody said something to the contrary, and even if so, maybe so what?
Yeah, it's just meaningless chatter, probably.
We need you for this. Which, by the way, you are here unexpectedly, so you can offer your expertise on this.
I wasn't even supposed to be here today.
The guy cares that much.
Yeah, that's just what it is.
Come in.
Yeah.
That World Cup thing got you. I think you couldn't stay away.
Yeah, no, yeah, sure.
Your coworkers, your son, me, like you were going to be in the middle of I got to get this pick in, or else people are going to be mad. Do they know that I'm busy right now?
Well, it's also
they all work here.
It's also our very first Beef on Weck Wednesday, so I didn't want to miss that.
Yeah, what does that mean?
I think we're giving away gift cards to for a place that serves beef on Weck.
Let's go.
Connor's Restaurant in West Seneca is a new partner.
Great.
Yeah.
That's today.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Mike, I had a concert I was supposed to go to, and it got postponed. The lead got Tyler Childers, his partner. I don't know if they're married, but they have a child already, and his partner went into labor, and so he had to postpone the next 2 shows on the tour, and Buffalo was one of them. So,
be sure to catch us today, next hour, for Beef on Weck Wednesday, brought to you by Connor's Restaurant, 3465 Seneca Street. Your chance to win a $50 gift card to Connor's, where every Wednesday score 4 Connor's Beef on Weck meals for just $55, or 1 for $15. Connor's is better. 803-0550 for your calls, talking about the AFC prospects for this year. We'll talk to Joe Goodberry, as we mentioned, at 4, and Sal Capaccio at 5:30. Thanks for listening. Lines are open. This is WGR.
For more comfort.
Now's the perfect time to make yourself comfortable with a new electric heating and cooling system from Belknap.
In Western New York, summer and winter bring extreme temperature conditions. Make yourself comfortable with Mitsubishi electric heat pumps, designed to keep your home cool in the summer and warm in the winter, no matter how hot or cold it gets outside. Call Belknap today to learn more.
I'm Gary Garfalo, president of Belknap. We work on your schedule. We don't charge more for weekends and evenings. That's why we say,
Give Belknap a ring.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day alright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster. Oh, roller coaster. 'Cause I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster. Oh, roller coaster. Oh, roller coaster.
He's a competitor. He's the loudest guy in the room at all times. He's a constant competitor. Nothing that he does is half speed. He does it full speed. And to have a guy like that in your locker room, pushing your guys and forcing them to compete even harder, those guys are gems, and I think every team needs that type of guy.
Josh Allen talking about Sal.
Wow.
He's always the loudest guy in here. You need high energy. Well, he's not the loudest guy in there, and he's not on the team either. C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Pretty quick to always anything. I mean, how long has he been here? How many times have they been in the same locker room? 4?
A dozen, maybe tops. I don't know.
He's already established that he's the loudest guy. Yeah. But okay, veteran pickup by the Bills this year. Sal Capaccio will join us in a couple of hours. 803-0550. The pick is in. I went check you.
Yeah, I saw, because I'm in this text thread that is making me want to die.
You got to love that.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love?
Yeah.
Can you appreciate how Bulldog would be reacting and feeling about this? Text thread.
Did you at least
spreadsheet?
think of that when the thread first started? Did you think Chris probably wants to leave this thing right now?
I thought about it eventually when I realized you were in it.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
I'm making do.
You're toughing it out.
I'm trying to find my way. Yeah.
It's a nice little way to do it.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's better than email or
totally agree. Yeah,
signing up at Sleeper or something. This is the best you could hope for. You don't want Joe calling you.
No, what I think I was hoping for was with the thing I joined at More Room, which was just here's $20. Tell me who I got.
Mm-hmm.
Which is where
we can find you more of that.
Where I ended up there. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure you can. I thought that's what I was agreeing to when I sent Joe the money, and then suddenly there's a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sure.
Funny.
Yeah. I love that.
Good luck. Hang in there.
Yeah, I think I'll make it.
Michael is with us. Hello.
Hey, guys. I had a question just to spark conversation. So if you were debating players in terms of their peak, do you think there needs to be a certain threshold of time that they had to be at their peak to compare? So, for example, Cam Newton had his one great season that people would refer to as one of the greatest. And then obviously a guy like Aaron Rodgers probably had multiple. Do you think Cam Newton's case is diminished in this conversation versus a guy like Aaron Rodgers, for example, because it was only 1 year? Is there a requirement of peak? Does that make sense?
Well, what are we trying to figure out? Who's better?
If you're debating, because obviously if you get into a conversation of who's better overall, then you're going to say Rodgers.
Right.
If you're debating who at their peak was the better quarterback, I think that's when maybe in the weeds. And maybe it's not the best example of the two guys to compare, but in terms of a guy like Cam Newton, his best year was really just that 1 year, whereas Rodgers was multiple years, which could get into the weeds of who had the better peak debate.
I don't know. To me, it seems simply two different questions. If you want to find out who had the best season, compare everybody's best season. If you want to figure out who had the better career, of course, longevity would matter. So
yeah, and the length of someone's peak, obviously, I think if you're one guy has they're comparable enough that you've got, say, 4 or 5 seasons to compare, right? What are you going to achieve here? Looking at, okay, well, this guy's best year within that is this much better than that guy. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to get lost in it, but I think Cam Newton had an all-time great season, and that's really the story of his career.
It's not better than Rodgers' best seasons, probably.
Okay,
I think.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Never thought about lining them up next to one another.
Me neither.
But I never think of Cam Newton as an all-time great, even though he had a great season, because he wasn't great for long enough.
It's an interesting thought in a certain way to me, having last week at some point, it was Wembanyama. It was some game he played. Might have been game 1 against Oklahoma City.
Yes, that's the game that sort of got me in.
So what did they do in that game? Everything? There was a last-second shot.
Stat line was insane, yeah.
They won in overtime, maybe?
Yeah, he played a ton of minutes, double overtime it was. He played a ton of minutes, and triple-double. The other stuff was really high, too. Like, whatever didn't get to double digits. I don't know if it was an actual triple-double, but it was, like, lots of points, double-digit rebounds, steals, assists, blocks. Like, it was just a massive stat line.
So here's the point. There was a Le Batard show clip the next day where somebody on his show made the case that he is the greatest basketball player of all time. And no, he hasn't put the time in like Jordan or LeBron. I mean, nobody's going to put more time in probably than LeBron, who's still going. But you can't just take, if somebody's first game in the league is 50, 20, and 10, they don't have to be the greatest player ever. But this guy has the look of it. He was a first overall pick, franchise player, and here it is playing the defending champs in the playoffs, and he does that. Maybe similar to what Jordan did against the Bulls that one time when he was younger, not a rookie. But anyway, somebody on that show, whose name I don't know, they shared it. The argument was, I know that it's not time for this yet, but he is the greatest player ever. And that's pretty jarring to hear someone say about a guy that's so young. But it also makes sense. Like maybe you would have said about Cam Newton or whoever, Allen, Jackson, Mahomes, somebody like that, so early in their career. Well, people got there pretty fast on Mahomes. This is the best guy ever. But when we're actually, again, like that's pretty clearly two different conversations.
Right.
Where one is, well, for one game, maybe, or whatever, like who do you want? And then another is the obvious reality that to be an all-time great, you have to sustain it for a long time. So anyway, I don't know. It's not complicated for me, but it's interesting to think about somebody like, could you say that? It's wild to say it.
I think it's wild, and I mean, I'm sorry to be so boring, but I think I need a could be on the front end of that. Like certainly you see what he's capable of, but having one great game in the Western Conference Final does not elevate you past dozens of other people to me. Like the potential for him to reach that peak is absolutely there, but you got to go do it. You got to put your team on your back again tonight and even up this series. Before I'm ready to talk about you being an all-time great. I mean, it's all speculation right now. So I just, that sounds kind of like a little hot takey for me. Like he's the best basketball player ever.
No, well, it definitely is, but it was logical enough for me. Like just, I got it. I don't think I want to walk around saying it, but I got it. Mm-hmm. Yesterday we talked about Allen and the possibility that he retires in, say, 5 years or something if he breaks down a little bit. And he made a point about that to Tyler Dunn, some suggestion that he might be thinking that way about his future. He needs to be able to play the way he plays, and if he can't, then maybe he's going to check out. Is he – I thought of it. I didn't ask it yesterday. Is he already in the Hall of Fame? No, I think, Allen. But we probably all assume that he'll get there. Mm-hmm. But he will have to. So he's in between Wembanyama and LeBron. Like
right.
He's going to have to do more of this.
Right. He's already stacked some really, really fantastic seasons that make for the start of a fantastic Hall of Fame resume. But, yeah, you got to fill it out. You got to fill in the back end of your career with more dominant years.
It might be close to Rodgers at a certain point when he was much younger. Rodgers won it, I think it was 2010, that season. So that's before where Allen is now.
Right.
And then he ended up with maybe 4 MVPs, 2 were in late 30s. But there might have been a point for the people that have the Hall of Fame debate where you might have questioned Rodgers because it was only one.
The one championship, right.
But then he kept going and won 2 more MVP awards, and now is still playing, and now he's undeniable, I think.
I agree.
So I don't know if Allen will end up playing into his 40s, but he might need to get to a Super Bowl at least get to one. Because you can't just go your whole life with like, oh, well, Kansas City exists.
You're right.
I mean, Cincinnati made it. New England made it now. And he was alive for it. He was in the playoffs.
Yep.
I mean, both times.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously could have had a lot to say about New England making it at all. Like, if they find their way to get past Denver, then they're playing in Foxborough for the AFC title.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah. So, you didn't need me to say yeah. Sorry. So yeah, I don't know. Like, to me, Newton has never been an all-time great to me. Like,
no.
not even close. Maybe if I looked at the best years of everybody who's considered to be all-time great, maybe he has a comparably all-time great season, but that just ain't enough.
They have that, what is it called? Like the chess rating, the ELO rating. Is that what reference sites use? They have the similar players. It's always been a little bit beyond me to understand that. But you see some great names on his page for whatever. It was a pretty short shelf life. Game 4 is tonight. Spurs and Knicks.
Yipper.
Have you ever fallen asleep during a game that you were at? You think?
Definitely not.
Even kids?
Definitely not. No, well, no. I think any time I went to I never went when I was real little. So like maybe 7 years old is my first time going to the Odd, say. And then they were really the same year, 8 years old would have been the stadium. There was no falling asleep at that football game, that's for sure. And I think to be in the Odd as a little kid, like there was too much going on for me to ever feel. There was too much stuff to look at. Like when you're a little kid sitting in the Odd for the first couple times, you're as fascinated by the cigarette butt sound buffer things hanging from the ceiling as you are by what's going on the ice. What are those things? Right? Like, there's just too much. There's no way. No. There were a couple of Sunday afternoon games when I was doing my nighttime show on BEN and going to the press box and, going to the room after, like, kind of covering the game for all intents and purposes for my show, where I remember sitting in the press box watching a game, 1997 or 98, and just being like, I could fall asleep right now.
I think I've probably gotten there with baseball.
I could fall asleep right now. I'm not going to. I think that would be rude. People might notice. But oh God.
I don't think I ever came close to it for a game when I paid for a ticket. But maybe a random
press box
baseball game or something.
Yeah.
And I think if I ever had, in that case, any sort of instinct that I was about to fall asleep, I would just get up and leave.
Right.
It's just
right.
I'm not going to fall asleep in this chair, But easy for me to justify that.
Yeah, we were.
Just going to go
we're
home
talking
and
about
play video games
in our 20s or 30s.
Right.
At the time. It's
just going to go home and play Tiger Woods golf.
Right.
And then fall asleep doing that.
Right.
That'll be better.
Where no one can see me.
Joe Goodberry coming up in 20 minutes on the Bengals. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. One of our favorite football guests, Joe Goodberry, coming up on the Bengals and the AFC and his outlook. That'll be in about 15 minutes. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Are you still banging away at those hockey82and0.com puzzles like you have been?
No. Haven't done a single one.
Really? Okay.
No.
I've got a couple new ones to share.
Okay.
One is, because I still, especially if I start poorly, I want to come up with like a fun team that might involve some Sabre rando type mood.
Sure, okay.
So on this one, it's called Sabres Demons.
Sabres Demons.
My forward line is Rod Brindamore, Brett Hull, and Dan Bilesma.
Wow, that's good.
Bilesma played for the Ducks.
Yeah, but still, yeah, all right, that works.
I mean, some of this is a little harsh.
Yeah.
Marcel Pronovo on the blue line. That's a little harsh. I don't know why I would think he might be a demon.
Yeah.
He was a coach of a team that didn't win. That's all.
Not that long, too. I don't know. He's not someone I would have on my demon list.
But sometimes it's just who you get.
Yeah, sure.
He's on the blue line with Luke Shen. Joe did not like considering Luke Shen for this. But
he didn't do anything wrong.
Yes, he did.
What did he do wrong?
He played.
Well,
he shouldn't have played.
But did he hurt them?
Yes.
No, he didn't.
They had better players who didn't play because they had to play Luke Shen. Yes. No. Really? You wouldn't say that?
I would say that, but they got away with it. He didn't burn them. In the playoffs, anyway. I mean, I know that first game he played in the regular season, he had an awful giveaway that led to a goal, and we all freaked out.
What about Game 5? I was at Game 5. I think he played in Game 5. I gave up 6.
That was the game we.
Clifton, right?
Clifton.
Who am I thinking of? Timmins. 7 letters. Sorry. Who's Clifton? Connor Clifton. Connor Timmins.
Former Sabre.
2 Connors with 7 letters. All right. It's hot out. Timmins and Shen. I didn't need either of them. I think. So Billy Smith.
Boy, I think that's harsh.
It is harsh.
I'm with Sneaky Joe.
It is harsh.
Billy Smith totally works.
That's my 41-41 with that team. You know, I didn't have a losing record, even with Bilesma and Luke Shen. Sabres, or who was it? Yeah, somebody's Luke Shen. And then I went 79-3. That's my best record yet. You're trying to put the best team you can together, 6-player lineup. Given certain limitations, like you spin and you get a team in a decade, you can change it twice, but you can't do anything you want. That team was Sundin from the Leafs, Ovechkin from the 2000s, like rookie era Ovechkin, and St. Louis Brett Hull up front.
Right. That's a lot of goals. Yeah.
Blackhawks Chelios.
Awesome.
Vancouver Jovanovski. So when they went to the Cup.
All right.
For a while there,
Yeah.
he was good.
Sure.
And then Hellebuck when he was young. Last decade Hellebuck. 79-3. Proof.
I'm really happy for you.
I know, I can tell. The best thing about this game for me is not the record you get. It's you spin a team. Like, for instance, today I got just 90s or 2000s Calgary. And, you know, if you're starting out, you can find a Theo Fleury or you can do something like that.
Martin Jelena.
Yeah, there are all the names. There's options, but you look through it, and one of the names is Grant Fuhr. And that's the best thing about this game is Grant Fuhr was on Calgary.
That happened, right? Yeah, right.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. I don't know that if you would ask me, did Grant Fuhr ever play for? Yeah, I think I would have said yes. I think I would have said yes.
I would never have remembered that.
If you asked me all the teams Grant Fuhr played for, I don't think I would spontaneously get to Calgary. But if you said, did Grant Fuhr play in Calgary, I think that would have gone. I went, yeah, I remember that.
What about L.A.?
No.
He also played for L.A.
I don't believe you.
Oilers, Leafs, Sabres, Kings, Blues, Flames. Andrew Chuck on Boston is a fun one. Just for a minute, he was on Boston.
Right.
These are not names you want to pick for this game, for this exercise to win with.
Tail end of his career, Andrew Chuck is probably not real valuable. Yeah.
It might be before he came back. I don't know. Maybe not. Because he went to the Avs, too.
Right.
And Glenn Anderson on the Blues. I did not remember.
I remember that.
You do?
Yes, I do.
Good for you.
Yes.
There are a lot of those in this.
Mostly because when we coached that celebrity game, he was wearing a Blues jersey, Glenn Anderson.
Was he really?
No, he wasn't. I made that up.
Okay. Joe Goodberry next.
Another day of mandatory minicamp for the Buffalo Bills. Do stay tuned. We'll get the latest from today. Sal Capaccio is going to join the show at 5:30. But for more on yesterday, Sal does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tomorrow night. Today, though, we have multiple reports that the NHL is moving forward with the investigation into Mike Babcock and the events in Columbus back in 2023. There does not appear, though, to be a timeline on how quickly this can be carried out, as if the Oilers decide to no longer pursue Babcock as their head coach, the investigation will not happen, much like in 2023 when Babcock resigned from the Blue Jackets. In the NBA, Game 4 over at Madison Square Garden, the Knicks do host San Antonio. New York holds that 2-1 series lead. Game time tonight is at 8:30. And then in baseball, Bison's home tonight versus Syracuse. First pitch at 6:35. You can listen to that game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. While in the majors, Yankees currently up on Cleveland 8-4 in the ninth. The Jays host Philly at 7:07, and at 7:10, the Mets, they are home against the Cardinals. It's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
Last night at 12:30 in the morning, I ate a can of mushrooms. I did. Pieces and stems, if you're wondering. As opposed to buttons. It was pieces and stems, which will be my next year's fantasy football team name.
Pieces and stems.
Pieces and stems.
And the Bulldog.
I should be ashamed to admit this publicly, but whatever. How long have we been doing this? I'm a junkie. I can't be trusted.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I was at a family party on Friday. I told you about it because we did a bunch of division winner parlays.
Mm-hmm.
And my niece's husband is from Cincinnati. And he knows what I do. He's like, do you know Joe Goodberry?
Right.
And I took a little bit of liberty. I said, yeah, we're friends. He's like, really? Can you get him here to this party? Can you get him here? Because he must have known, Joe, that you lived in the area. And I said, no, I'm not going to make that effort. This is a family event. So I hope it was not offensive to you that I said you were my friend.
No, that's not at all. That's very cool. And yeah, you could send a text. That'd be cool. I make party invites and do like kids' birthday parties and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right. Maybe next time I will.
You've got Joe's number in your phone? See, I only know Joe.
I don't know.
I only know Joe through Zach, and before Zach, Sneaky Joe, and I don't know how long we go back, Joe, and I doubt that you have a list of producers of ours who've called you over the years.
I don't have it.
This is how I know you. I don't. If someone. I don't know that I would say we're friends. I would certainly say I know you, but the next question would be, can you get him here? Like, no, I don't have his phone number. Therefore, we're not friends.
Well, wait a minute. If you know him, you should be friends, but you just haven't met him. And it's hard to that was my hang up.
Yeah,
was hard to say you're friends with somebody that you've never met. That was my problem. Is that what you're saying too?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
You can know people and not be friends, but are they your friends just because you know them, or are they friends because you've shared moments and times together? That's a tricky question.
All right, let's say yes to that last part and go from there. Let's say
okay.
We've shared conversations.
I certainly want. I don't want to come off as too desperate or needy here, Joe, but I certainly want us to all be friends.
Yeah, that's where we want to end up.
Well, we're just going to have to schedule a day. Maybe go get some wings or something.
Let's do it.
That's a plan.
Joe, preeminent Bengals analyst with us on the Wester Hotline. How are you choosing to define expectations for the Bengals this year? I think they're tricky because they've been down in the standings, but the upside is really there. And when I see that they're favored in 15 games, I feel like just saying making the playoffs is light.
Yeah, I was trying to temper my expectations and maybe how I presented them to other people for a while because the defense still after free agency, I didn't feel great about it. And then the Dexter Lawrence trade kind of ruined that for me. I bought in. I was like, man, that's, you get a premium piece on your defense. That could be huge for you. That should at least get you moved up to, 16 to 20 in the defensive rankings instead of 30 to 32nd, which they've been for the last 3 years. And I start to go, okay, well, let's really look at this team. And when Burrow's been healthy, they've been good and they score a lot of points and they're competitive.
it's really been the two injuries. I guess you can say probably three, two injuries in 2023. And then last year getting hurt again with the turf toe has really sapped their potential for what probably should have been prime years for Joe Burrow's career. Now he still has a few more of those. He's not old yet, but at the same time, you're looking at it like, man, is the pressure there? Do they feel it? Can they see it? Is that why they're going to get Dexter Lawrence? Is that why they're spending money in free agency? Is that why they're restructuring Joe Burrow? And I assume another move is coming with that extra cap space. And if so, maybe 15 games isn't crazy, especially when you look at the schedule. It is not tough at all. So I'm starting to get carried away a little bit, and I don't know if that's just the summer and the football season needing to get here that's allowing me to do that.
Forgive me if this ends up being a stupid question, Joe, but what's your read on, I don't know, the vibes around Burrow? It felt like as last year was ending and even into the winter and early in the spring, there's this concern, and maybe this is just Bengals fans being panicky the way Bills fans used to be panicky about, I don't know, the team leaving or players not wanting to be here. Is there any anxiety about Burrow ending up at the Carson Palmer space on the board?
There is some of that, of course, especially if you've been a fan for a long time. Now, half of the viewers and readers and, people that consume my content jumped on when Burrow was here. So they're kind of fuzzy on the Carson Palmer story. But it was very similar to this. They went to the playoffs the first 2 years. Things felt great. You had Chad Ochocinco, TJ Hushmanzada, Rudy Johnson. Like, you had a stacked offense with a timely defense, and he was the golden-armed prospect, number one overall Heisman winner. Everyone felt really good about their potential to get there. And then they don't make the playoffs for 3 straight years. And Palmer hurts his UCL, misses almost all of 2008. And they have to rebuild and get back to competitive football in 2009. And then things went downhill after that. And they brought in T.O. 2010, and everything just got crazy. And you could see the Bengals were never really going for it. They were never really pushing the chips all in. And Palmer got frustrated with that, and things fell apart, and it hit us like a brick at the time. So could you see it happen again? Of course. I have scars from that, from thinking you're going into the season with one thing, and then you get the Andrew Luck pulled right in front of you. So, it happens, and it is something to be wary of. But at the same time, looking at the contracts, looking at how feasible it would actually be to do these things and how conservative the Bengals typically are and how tight they are really in a lot of ways. They didn't want to trade Palmer originally until someone finally offered 2 potential first-round picks, ended up being a first and a second. There's really no space to do it for another 2 years. And I don't think Joe wants to leave Jamar and T after really pushing to get them paid, and they got paid. Everyone's here, and guaranteed money is still there for the next year and a half. Like that, I don't think it's happening anytime soon. But it's not a coincidence, I don't think, that the Bengals were like, okay, let's make some all-in moves in this offseason, try and right this ship.
Yeah, I'm glad you got to Higgins and Chase there. I mean, keeping both of them. I can remember talking to you over the years that, like, I don't know, I just never thought that was a great idea to invest that money there. But I wonder how much organizationally the concern of making sure they keep Burrow happy. Certainly any team with a franchise quarterback wants to do that. I wonder if, acquiescing eventually to keeping both of those receivers played a bigger role in that than maybe it should have.
Some of the most interesting comments this offseason was from de facto general manager is what we call him, because it's really still Mike Brown. But Duke Tobin runs the show. And he had a postseason, after the season press conference going into the offseason, and he was pretty stern in his response when everyone's like, you feel the pressure to put things around Burrow, to make it right around Burrow, to build the right team for Joe, all these things. And eventually he kind of cracked a little bit and said, well, our quarterback also has to stay healthy, and he has to win these games in big moments at the end. And then he continued to talk about how they can fix the rest of the roster around him. But I thought that was important because if you leave excuses on the table, I think the fan base will generally side with the player for a long time, especially the franchise quarterback. But once the excuses are kind of gone, you've paid your weapons around. You got Jamar Chase, you got T. Higgins, you've got Mike Gesicki, you got Chase Brown. You're bringing back all 5 starters on the offensive line that played much better. This is the best offensive line in Burrow's career for sure. And then now we've made moves in free agency. You brought in big free agents, 2 starting free agents on day 1 of free agency. You make a big trade a 10th overall pick for Dexter Lawrence. You make moves there to ensure that the defense is much better. Well, now the pressure is off the organization in a lot of ways, and it's normally squarely on the organization. I think the pressure is even less on Zach Taylor because we've seen Taylor get an okay roster. They weren't great. No one expected them to make the Super Bowl in 2021, and I don't think people love Zach Taylor on the outside. The organization does, but I think the pressure is off him a little bit and more on Joe Burrow, and it's on Jamar Chase, and it's on T. Higgins. Like, we've paid you guys. It is time to make plays at the end of the game to win these big games and to stay healthy, of course, for Joe Burrow, which to me, that I find that exciting. I find that like, okay, let's put it on the players. Let's see what they do. Let's see how they respond. You guys were having a conversation earlier about greatness. And to me, greatness is different than being the best. Like, Joe Burrow's the best quarterback they've ever had, but is he the greatest? He's not there yet. And I would like to see him get there through these big moments and answering the call when they need it. And we're going to have another shot at that this season.
Oh, man, there's so much to work with there. What is Anderson without the one Super Bowl appearance? He was so good, like underrated, criminally underrated, they say, Ken Anderson.
No doubt.
I'd love to play with that. Interesting how the Bengals and the Bills can be compared with each other on this front. How if this isn't going too far, Joe, like when organizations just their reputations are so entrenched for losing or, being frugal, or if that's even different, just what they were. And then you get a quarterback, as these two teams both did, that looks just like almost too good for the organization. Just, this is impossible. How they almost always get the benefit of the doubt. Allen has had his share of big game losses too, but rarely does anybody really blame him. I mean, once in a while now, Denver was turnovers, and they scored 30 points.
I've been kind of pushing back on it the whole time. Like, it was always McDermott in the defense. I'm like, I got the ball with a minute to go. Come on, I expect to win one of these.
There is that school of thought, but there's also, like, for every one of those phone calls we get 30 about Brandon Beane.
Right.
And they're 98 and 50, not including playoffs in the last 8 years. So the Bills and the Bengals, I think, are both teams where a great superstar quarterback can maybe get away with a lot. Not that they necessarily shouldn't at times, but that's the blame almost never seems to reach them.
I think you're 100% right. And I hear the conversation about the Bills all the time being here. So much of it was on McDermott after these games, right? How many calls did you get on McDermott? Well, now that's not there. If people like Brady, and we'll see how he goes as a head coach, but you could see maybe a little shift towards more of an eye on Allen. And now maybe the excuse is still there that, he doesn't have the weapons, but you make the trade for a receiver. You continue to add to that side of the ball. And at some point, that conversation may go there, or the angst may go towards Josh Allen.
Yeah, well, and the coaching change plays into that in more ways than one. Because it depends on how you want to perceive it, but Brady, I think in a lot of fans' minds, is Allen's guy, right? He was his quarterback's coach. He got elevated to coordinator when that opening came, and they've hired him as head coach. Of course, they're not going to hire a guy as the new head coach, replacing McDermott after 9 years, that Allen doesn't want. So he's sort of on the, I don't know, he's on the spot now with Brady, I think, to some extent.
And again, like I said, I think that's fun. I think that's okay. Right. If you're looking at it and saying, I want drama, I want to see this guy, I want to see our franchise, our golden boy here with the ball in his hands, down by 6 points with 1:40 to go, with one timeout in the AFC Championship game, I want to see that. These are the moments that you remember forever. You want the pressure. You want the spotlight on them. You want them in primetime games so that everyone can watch what we watched for 17 weeks and say, look at this guy. Look how good he is. He is everything that I've been waiting for this franchise, and you just want him to come through in those moments. But to get to that moment and have that pressure is a privilege.
With Joe Goodberry, you mentioned referenced Burrow's age earlier. It might be interesting for people to know he is older than Lamar Jackson. He was drafted 2 years later, but he is a month older than Jackson. Burrow's 29, Jackson's 29. Allen and Mahomes are both 30. Allen just turned 30. Herbert is 28. Nix is 26, even though he's not been in the league for very long, but he came in old. Lawrence is 26 only. May is 23. Anyone else I want in the AFC? Watson is 30. By the way, Watson is only 30, so
I don't want him.
You don't want it? Forget I mentioned Watson. Joe, that schedule, wow, it's funny how it works. I'm not sure this is the only time in the rotation where a team gets both South divisions, but so many times those are the weak spots. And the AFC
those are the
North.
ones you're waiting for, right?
Yes, like every 4 years. And sometimes it just feels like this is always the case where that's really soft, but that's what you've got. We were talking, maybe you were listening, we were talking about the 1 seed, about the Bills, as we always do every offseason. And I think Cincinnati is a key team in this because you need the other divisions to be competitive, I think, probably, so that one team just doesn't run roughshod through it. And the Ravens, or even the Bengals, I suppose, if the Ravens slip, maybe Baltimore is a team that's dangerous in that way. I don't know. I don't think the AFC West will have that. I think it's too good. And if Jacksonville and Houston are both good, then maybe the South won't either. The Bills might need Cincinnati in a weird way to hang around and, battle Baltimore to end up with Buffalo as the 1 seed. And maybe that's, the other way around too. You might feel like you need New England.
Yep.
Exactly what I was going to say. It's kind of like when the Tom Brady era Patriots were going and they just ran through the AFC East, it was like, okay, they're going to win 14 games, right? Just because they'd go pretty much almost every time 5-1 or 6-0 in the division. Well, yeah, and the AFC North has been so tough for a long time. Hopefully the Steelers are taking a step back, or maybe more indecision, and definitely not taking a step forward with Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully not, and for my sake. But, if you can look at Baltimore and say, I don't know that they got better in a big way. I mean, Trey Hendrickson is a great pass rusher, and they had some pass rush issues last year. But they have a lot of holes, and that offensive line has a lot of issues still. They need a lot of young guys to step up and step their game up in a big way and become big players for them. But if I were just looking at the rosters and saying 1 for 1, the Bengals are probably edging out the Ravens just a little bit. I think the Ravens are still slight favorite from betting odds, but I think it's really, really close. And for the Bengals specifically, they need to come out hot again. That story hasn't gone away, really. I think they are 2 different offenses a lot of times early in the year versus what they end up being midpoint. And then, towards the end of the year, they seem to be a team that figures it out as they go. But that's going to ruin your chance of getting a number 1 seed or fighting for it. If you're starting off 1-2 or 2-2, well, it's, the number 1 seed, you better rattle off 10 wins at some point to catch yourself back up to it. And the Bengals really haven't shown that early season get off the way that a number 1 seed typically needs to have.
Joe, anytime we visit with someone who covers and talks about and writes about another team, I'm going to pop the Our Lads depth chart open on my desktop. And it really stands out looking at the Bengals on offense and on defense. And this isn't surprising. It's just another way to make an example of how much work they felt needed to be done on defense. The starter column on the Our Lads offense is all the same color. It's all guys that have been there. There's no purple, there's no green, there's no orange, there's nothing. It's all static, right? There are 3 spots on the second team offense where there are draft picks, and they're all mid-round guys, 4th through 6th round. The defense, on the other hand, has 4 new guys in the starter column, all free agents. And then there's 3 more guys on the second team, 2 draft picks, and another free agent. So you got 7 guys, 7 spots on the defensive depth chart on the first, 2 rungs of it that are new. Obviously 4 starting spots. So that just really jumped out at me. I very rarely see that kind of disparity team to team when, I'm doing this exercise looking at whomever we're talking to. But it really stands out with you guys.
There's 1 player on defense left from the 2021-2022 2 years of Super Bowl AFC Championship, and that's B.J. Hill at defensive tackle. Everyone else was either drafted in 2022 or after, didn't play much. Dax Hill was 2022, didn't play much his rookie year. So everyone pretty much is afterwards. And then you're right, it's a lot of free agents, and it's a lot of guys they drafted in the last 2-3 years. They have seen the writing on the wall. I think that part 1 was that they knew if they're going to pay Burrow and Chase and Higgins, they're going to have to invest through the draft on defense, and they're going to lose some free agents along the way. And so that was prepared for. They tried to draft a bunch of guys. A lot of them did not pan out. And when you do that, you're in a hole right away. So what they have to do to counteract that, they had to go out in free agency, and they had to get guys like Jonathan Allen and Dexter Lawrence and Boye Mafe and Kyle Duggar and Brian Cook. So, if those guys can pan out for you, if they're veterans that can stabilize you, I don't think there's a better one-for-one replacement in free agency than, no offense to you guys and to Geno Stone, but from Geno Stone to Brian Cook, from one of the worst tacklers in the league, and effort-wise, Stone is probably the poster child for a lot of Bengals fans for their defense the last 2 years. To go to Brian Cook, who's one of the better tackling free safeties in the league, very steady player for the Chiefs the last 3 years. He's been there 4 years, but last 3 years starting. That one-for-one replacement at that position where the Bengals have a lot of issues since losing Jesse Bates and Von Bell, they're expecting that to be a big boost to their communication and what they can do on the back half again, the way they used to when they had good safeties. That's the big one for me, other than Dexter Lawrence, we already talked about. But the pass rush, big for them. After losing Trey Hendrickson, they brought in Jonathan Allen at defensive tackle, who was probably playing too many snaps, former first-round pick. They think they can reduce his snaps and get him in a pass rush role and extend his career. Boye Mafe, coming off a Super Bowl run with the Seahawks, very good postseason as an edge rusher, day one signing as well in free agency. And then they draft Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M with their first pick, which they have a second-round pick, who is a pass rush specialist. So I think they're going to try and manufacture it with a wave of 8 guys coming at you rather than just Trey Hendrickson.
Just a couple minutes left with Joe Goodberry. You slipped in a reference to the Steelers earlier. What do you actually expect?
I don't know, to be honest. They're a collection of individual talents that I like and players that I like. Like on his own, I like DK Metcalf. On his own, I like Michael Pittman. On his own, I like Jalen Warren. But together, the offense was dysfunctional in a lot of ways, and that's why they probably went out and got McCarthy and wanted to start over on that side of the ball. The offensive line's got some issues in terms of – I thought they secured their interior offensive line the last couple of years, and then Troy Fautano, their former first-round pick, probably going to play left tackle. They spend their first-round pick on a right tackle this year, so maybe that'll get secured and they'll be okay. I like Darnell Washington as a player at tight end. I like Pat Freiermuth at tight end. So as a collection, I like the individual guys on offense. You can say the same about the defense. They have individual stars on that side. But something seems dysfunctional, or did, under Tomlin at the end there. And maybe that's the boost they need to recover and just reset things by getting McCarthy in here. But I'm not a big fan of Mike McCarthy. I thought his offense was archaic in a lot of ways, very stagnant, not a lot of motion, not a lot of creativity. They're not going to scheme a lot of things up, so you need these weapons to make plays one-on-one, and maybe they have enough to do that. But overall, I don't think it's a very good roster, and I think they've got some really exploitable holes that I hope other teams can take advantage of. So I'm tired of seeing the Steelers get into the playoffs with a winning record, and maybe it'll be different without Tomlin, and then just get absolutely destroyed in the wild card round.
That's another thing that's annoying, isn't it? And Baltimore would feel the same way maybe at least last couple of times when Pittsburgh gets in.
Where are you on Baltimore, Joe?
They're going to be a pain because Lamar Jackson is a freak show at quarterback, and he's gotten more efficient as he's gone on, and that means their offense is going to be good, despite holes on the offensive line, despite not having – I mean, Zay Jones is a good receiver, but is he like an alpha number one? I don't know if he is. I don't know if you need one, especially when they can run the ball the way they do, and they have good tight ends with Mark Andrews. They lost Isaiah Likely, which I think will actually be a big hit towards them. But on defense, I think they're slow at corner. They're getting older at that position. They were exploitable at safety last year, and their pass rush was bad. But they got Trey Hendrickson, so does that offset connect, get them back where they need to be? I think they're going to be tough because, again, they got Lamar.
Joe, I'm glad to hear the friendship seems to be trending up. The season's still a ways away, so hopefully we get to talk to you again before then. What's the best way for us to help you make money? What can we tell or have you tell people to subscribe to Joe Goodberry?
That's a great question because I just put my notice in at my day job of 11 years, and so that's over because I just started and am now one of the co-hosts of the Locked On Bengals podcast, along with the other things I do. So it's kind of offsetting, and if I'm not going to take the leap now, when am I going to do it? I'm 39 years old, and I've been doing this. This is my 18th season covering the Bengals. Best place to find me to find all of that is on Twitter at Joe Goodberry.
Congrats.
Yeah,
you got to
good to hear.
Thank you.
Feel good. Maybe it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but that's normal.
Sure, yeah.
Got to be taking the plunge, but liberating too, so good for you.
Thank you.
Not to, give away too much. So many people I know have bet on themselves, as they say, and made it work. And I know from your following, you'd be a great bet on having that happen as well. Thanks for today, Joe.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon.
Joe Goodberry on the West Her Hotline. The Bengals open with the Bucks. They've never played,
I believe that.
Tampa Bay and much orange. Tampa Bay and Cincinnati meeting for the first time ever in week 1. The Bengals play the Steelers weeks 3 and 10, and that week 10 game is a Sunday night. Pittsburgh will be coming off a bye. The Baltimore games are weeks 7 and 17 for Cincinnati. The one interesting schedule thing in that division, I would say, is that Baltimore and Pittsburgh don't play until late December. Weeks 15 and 18 are those two games, which is funny because that'll be the score.
Right.
18 to 15 will be the score of both of those games. All right, time for a break. We'll have Sal in an hour. Plenty of time to talk before then. 803-0550, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Another day of mandatory minicamp for the Buffalo Bills. Do stay tuned. We'll get the latest from today. Sal Capaccio joining the show at 5:30. But we do have some injury notes today. Cole Bishop, when speaking with the media following practice, did mention he had his knee cleaned up this offseason, but he does expect to be ready to go by training camp. We do have some other injury news, though, around the league. Cardinals rookie defensive lineman Caleb Proctor is set to be out for the entire season, or at least expects to be out for the entire season with a torn meniscus. And then the Chiefs, they are adding 2 years to Patrick Mahomes' current contract, and now the total value is $504.75 million, making it the first NFL deal valued at over $500 million. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tomorrow night. Today, however, multiple reports do have the NHL moving forward with the investigation into Mike Babcock and the events in Columbus back in 2023. There does not, though, appear to be any timeline on how quickly this could be carried out, because if the Oilers decide to no longer pursue Babcock for their head coaching position, the investigation will not happen, much like in 2023 when Babcock resigned from the Blue Jackets. And then we do have, though, some finals games tonight in the NBA. Game 4 over at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks, they do host San Antonio. New York holds the 2-1 series lead, and tip-off tonight is at 8:30. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Caller 5 at 716-221-4WGR, that's 4947, has a chance at a $50 gift card to Connor's Restaurant on Seneca Street in West Seneca. Every Wednesday, score 4 Connor's Beef on Weck meals for just $55 or 1 for $15, because Connor's is better.
Giddy up.
Do you win, or do you just have a chance to win? I'm just reading what it says. Hopefully you win, but I don't know for sure. It just says you have a chance to win. I'm not in charge of this.
Yeah, me either. It's a tough question to ask me.
For now, it's just that you have a chance to win.
Right.
Hopefully you win anyway. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final goes to Carolina. They get out in front and now are going home 2-2. Do you think it's possible that Mitch Marner could win the Conn Smythe if the Hurricanes win the series?
Ooh. The fact that Anderson has come out, like, I think if he'd kept playing here, like didn't get pulled, and Busty didn't play last night, even if they'd just gone back to Anderson last night and won the game, and he's going to, presumably be the guy for the duration, that would be your guy. But now he's out of the mix. I'm guessing, Busty gave up, what did he give up? Three? Was it 4-3 last night? So 3 last night, okay.
How did you look?
Fine. Okay. Yeah. Vegas did not have, it was well into halfway through the game, and they were in single digits in shots, Vegas. Like, it was one of those games where,
like, they were playing Montreal again.
Yeah, one team was just not generating much. So it wasn't like he was super busy, Bussy.
He wasn't a busy Bussy.
No.
You're saying.
So Anderson's, I guess the door, because I don't know who the next guy, like, I know you have something on Stankoven, right? And that sort of, he scored last night.
First goal.
But it cooled off. Like, it was, the playoffs started, and he was scoring, like, the first goal of games right away in games. He was on a little bit of a tear there at the beginning of the playoffs, but, we're much further down the line now, so I don't know what kind of candidate he is for MVP. I honestly don't know who's next for them.
Well, I can tell you what the odds
Taylor Hall, maybe? I don't know. Slavin? There's no numbers there, but he's, shutdown guy. I think their shots against, or scoring chances against last night were like 15-3 or something with Slavin on the ice. I mean, he's been dominant, but I don't know that that's the playoff MVP. I don't buy it.
Well, say I'm on a flight right now covering this series. Say I'm Greg Wyshynski, and I have a vote, and I'm going to Carolina for Game 5. And I'm asking myself this question. So far, I think if Vegas wins, there's no question.
Right. I agree.
But with Carolina, it's tough, and I think you're right about Anderson. Anderson was their top odds guy before the finals, and now he's nowhere near. Like, now he's been replaced.
Right.
Maybe he goes back in, but... So on different sites, it's one of two guys. It's Stankhoven or Hall. What I would be doing is I definitely would be looking at the betting markets just to get an idea, like what are people expecting, and hoping that does not influence my vote. Maybe if I really did have a vote, I would resist the temptation to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you go, what I would definitely do is go to their playoff stats, and Hall and Jackson Blake are tied with the most points at 18, and Stankhoven has 15, but he has 11 goals.
Mm-hmm.
And you would know that what happened earlier in the playoffs does count. I mean, this is not just a finals award like it is in the NBA. It's a whole playoffs award. So I'm hoping.
Yeah. I think you're definitely live. I mean, to be the leading goal scorer, that if he scores 3 more goals and they win the cup, maybe you've got it.
I just don't want to do this again after Lindy.
Right.
I don't want to read minds.
Don't assume anything.
I
Right?
definitely don't want to assume anything.
It's why I think, like, I would say, yeah, like if Stankhoven doesn't present himself as obvious, like if he stays at 11 goals, but Carolina wins the cup, it's not unlikely. I mean, it easily could happen. We're talking about, 3 games here. So Marner has been so above and beyond that, yeah, I could see people in the press box as the game is winding. Carolina's, whenever you got to get the votes in, like, whatever time of the game it is. Carolina's, they're about to get an empty. The goalie's going to get pulled. They get the empty netter. I got to vote. Marner might be undeniable. Again, if Stankhoven doesn't add. Or any of these guys. I mean, Hall could have a hat trick in Game 5 or something and elevate himself, right? So that's still possible. But if it just goes along and each of these guys pick up another point or two, the goalie thing doesn't switch back to Anderson, so he doesn't have a triumphant return, and it's Bussy, I could land on Marner. I could see it in a losing cause.
Leads the playoffs in assists and points, 10 goals as well, 29 points. I don't know how big a lead that is, but it's probably pretty big. I mean,
yeah, I've not looked at
else?
The playoff stats really since the Sabres got knocked out.
Colorado goes out in 4. Carolina winning series in short order, so I would think that's probably a pretty good lead. I'm betting against it with what I have already, a ticket on Stankhoven, but I wouldn't disrespect Marner getting the award if they lost. The point is, best player in the playoffs, and he probably has been the best player in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Maybe by a good margin. But these guys don't want to vote for
the losing
guys.
Yep.
It happened with Jaguar.
Right, it's been goalies. Right, it's been goalies. Like, oh, look how just how strong he stood in the face of being completely overmatched. It wouldn't have been a 7-game series or as close a series, whatever.
They never would have been there.
Right.
You can't say that about Taylor Hall, probably.
No, I don't think you can. No.
If Taylor Hall wins the Conn Smythe for Carolina, does he go on the pile? Did we care about him enough? O'Reilly, Reinhart, Eichel. And I think O'Reilly is the only one to win the Conn Smythe of the 3.
That's correct.
Still, these were all very important figures in the Sabres' plans. And Hall was not. I mean, Hall was not irrelevant, and it didn't last very long anyway.
Yeah.
But he was not the other 3 guys.
No, it for me, his having ever been here is more of it's more of an aggravating footnote than it is something that him having success now, it's annoying, I guess, but it doesn't even barely reach me. Like, O'Reilly leaving and winning the cup right away. Right? Eichel eventually winning, Reinhart. Like, those were guys that were here that we wanted to matter and be a part of the the big turnaround. Like here, we went through the darkness, the tunnel that was the tank, and like now we got these guys. It's way different than Taylor Hall. Taylor Hall was like just almost like some kind of whimsical dream. I don't even feel like it was real. So I'm way less.
It was a joke.
Yeah, I'm way less mad, or it's annoying, and things that are annoying to me don't really. It's just yeah. And I mean, I'm choosing that. I mean, I guess I could be madder at him. He plays for Carolina, who I hate, but the Sabre part of that does not resonate with me hardly at all when I'm watching.
How about Jordan Staal?
Jordan Staal, I just can't stand because I can't stand his brother. So
really, which brother? Eric Staal.
that works in a different way.
Right.
And he's the captain. He's been there forever. I can't stand Carolina, so by relationship and the fact that he's their captain, he's annoying. Yeah.
I used to refer to him to my wife as her boyfriend, Jordan Staal. When he was he started with the Penguins.
Right.
And she must have said something like, "Oh, look how cute he is," or something. And anytime, and here he is still playing 15 years later, if not longer, 17 years later. I just have a rookie card that I'm picturing of Jordan Staal.
Yeah.
Like probably 2007.
Are you sure you still have it, or did your wife take it?
I had it in my hands today. That's funny. Well, I mean, she's home now. She might have grabbed it, but I doubt it.
She's walking around with that in her handbag.
I doubt it. Speaking of dreams.
Oh, hey now.
So here's a dream update. Yesterday, I reported having had a dream that the Bills won the Super Bowl, and I brought up how I was listening to an audiobook about the history of the NFL in the process, and I feel like that might have had something to do with it. Today, I had a dream. It was like, I don't want to get into details. I'm not even sure I really could because it's kind of foggy, but it was like a true crime book that I was listening to, or podcast. And in this dream, it was a work situation where something went missing. And I don't think I was being accused of it, but I was trying to figure it out. And then Tim, our boss, was in the 2 days in a row. Tim was in my dream.
Oh, boy.
And he went scrambling to try to figure out how to solve what happened. And then there was also a baseball thing. So I think maybe what I need to know is what should I be listening to at night to have the dreams I want to have. Right. I mean, I think maybe we all have the same thought here. But what do I need to find something that helps me to a proper dream. I mean, the Bills one was good.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Did you ever discover if the chapter about the Bills had been playing?
No, I don't even know that there was one.
Okay, all right.
But I thought maybe it was possible that the Bills were in the book.
I thought you mentioned that. Yeah, okay. The possibility, I mean. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tim.
Yeah, right.
Back-to-back Tim dreams.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
There's also like a baseball element. Did I say that?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Trying to figure out the lineup, and whoever was reading it wouldn't read the names. It was all just cryptic, and then they disappeared, and I couldn't find out who was batting sixth. Every dream pretty much has a what do I do about this crisis moment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really the right move is to figure out how to sleep without the audio.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Doesn't seem like that's not how they teach you to sleep. Just put a book on. Do they? Does anybody tell you that that's what you should do?
I mean, you start out as a little kid being read to by your parents.
Do they keep reading after you fall asleep? No.
Well, right. I would, you see it coming, you can feel it coming, and I would keep going just to make sure a little bit. Like they're asleep, but let me just, and I'm also I'd like to finish Goodnight Moon. It's not that long a book. Let me see if I can get through this.
Oh yeah. Sure. Goodnight Moon.
He's asleep.
Even if you're just reading it to yourself.
Yeah, right. I want to finish the book.
What happens to this rabbit?
Yeah.
Does anything happen? Does the rabbit do anything? Does the rabbit fall asleep? Does the rabbit wake up and cry?
Eventually,
that book wouldn't sell.
No.
If the rabbit at the end wakes up and cries. Oh, no. Did I just spoil Goodnight Moon? I hope not. It's been around. You should know. Sal coming up at 5:30. Let's check in on that World Cup draft we're in the middle of here. Any update on that in the last hour? No?
We're at a standstill here.
I mean, just pick a team, you're thinking? Just pick one. Just pick one.
I think Sal's working.
He's working.
He's talking to Bill's player, has been. I don't know.
Then have one of them pick one.
Right. I say just give him Haiti and let's move along. I don't know why it landed up, but they're in the pool.
Haiti's in it?
Yeah, they're there. Yeah.
Haiti's in the World Cup?
Yeah.
All right. There's a team to root for. What group?
I have no idea. No idea.
I'll find that out on my own here. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, lines open for your calls. This is WGR. Bulldog got off easy. Good for him for not just taking the chalk last night with the A's Brewers over 13 runs. You already had your action in. You were not tempted after a 15-14 game to do the obvious thing.
Nope.
That game was 7-5 A's after 6 and stayed there.
Ooh. Wow.
12. One more run after the 6th inning. They're scoring in every inning almost.
Right.
For 2 days. That's all you needed.
That's tough.
Never came.
Yep.
We've been there. We've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
The A's won 7-5. You didn't get the bottom of the last, which would have helped. Milwaukee's winning that game. At least you get the bottom of the 9th. The Yankees swept Cleveland, winning today. I think it was 8-4. I had Messick going for Cleveland. He looked great. 2 nights in a row. Like, having this kind of year with pitching in fantasy where, like, play at the plate, ball is there in time, but it's offline. Yankees score for 4-3. Then they get 2 more after he leaves the game, and it goes down as an L. Nice pitcher, lefty for Cleveland. But tough series for them, which means the Chicago White Sox are tied for first.
Look at that.
They have revenge game for Chris Sale tonight at the White Sox for Atlanta. Acuna went to the IL today. That happened again. I've got him too. Hi. Next, more talking. Thanks for listening. This is WGR.
Another day of mandatory minicamp for the Buffalo Bills. Do stay tuned. We'll get the latest from today. Sal Capaccio joining the show in just about a half hour at 5:30. There were some injury notes, though, today. Cole Bishop, when speaking with the media following practice, did mention he had his knee cleaned up, but he does expect to be ready to go by training camp. Some other injury notes in the league. Cardinals rookie defensive lineman Caleb Proctor could be out for the entire season with a torn meniscus. And then the Chiefs, they are adding 2 years to Patrick Mahomes' contract. Now the total value is $504.75 million, making it the first NFL deal valued at over $500 million. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tomorrow night. Today, however, multiple reports do have the NHL moving forward with their investigation into Mike Babcock and the events in Columbus back in 2023. There does not appear, though, to be any timeline for how quickly this can be carried out, because if the Oilers do ultimately decide to no longer pursue Babcock for their head coaching position, the investigation will not happen, much like in 2023 when Babcock resigned from the Blue Jackets. We do, though, have some finals games tonight in the NBA. Game 4 over at MSG. The Knicks do host San Antonio. New York, of course, holds that 2-1 series lead. Game time set for 8:30. Then in baseball, Bison's home tonight versus Syracuse. First pitch is at 6:35. You can listen to that one over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. While the majors already in the books, the Yankees took down Cleveland earlier today, 8-4. Coming up at 7:07, the Jays host Philadelphia. And then at 7:10, the Mets, they're home against St. Louis. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for West New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I gotta wonder what kind of working relationship you'd have with Satan.
It's Mike Schopp.
I've often wondered that.
Like, he, they, I don't know what his pronouns are, or their pronoun. Anyway, Satan.
And the Bulldog.
What's the upside of doing well?
Well, maybe they're too busy making everyone else's life hell.
Oh, boy.
And
wow.
you might just be able to do your own thing if you're partnered with Satan.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
They're too busy, making Scott Norwood miss field goals.
Oh, come on.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
Thanks to Sneaky Joe for reminding us that Connor McDavid won a Conn Smythe trophy on a losing team 2 years ago. Was it 2 years ago or even
I don't remember.
Last year, 2 years ago.
I don't remember which year it was now, honestly. Because I can't tell you. I watch it every year, and I just can't remember who won it. If it wasn't him last year, I don't remember who won it. I know I watched it because I watched that whole presentation every year, but I don't recall who would have done it.
Sam Bennett?
That might be right.
We should go through. Oh yeah, this would be really fun to listen to. We should go through every year and look at the stats and decide who we would have voted for. Sam Bennett did lead he won the Conn Smythe.
Okay.
It is on the page here. He led the playoffs in goals, 15 goals.
And they won. So, okay. That works. So McDavid was the year before. I can remember wondering, like, what happened? It's a presentation, right? Is he coming out for that? No, he's not coming. Like, they just lost. Like, there's such come out and pose for photos with the trophy. Like, no, I don't think that happens.
Brett Howden leads these playoffs in goals with 14.
He had 12 in the regular season.
He had 12 in the regular season in 58 games. So he's that guy. Yep. He's often that guy. He's a playoff player, Bulldog. His team is built for the playoffs because it has Brett Howden on it.
Yep, sure enough.
Carrier, who won a cup on Vegas, is on Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't ever score, but
no,
he's useful.
Yeah, he made a nice play on one of the Carolina goals. Boy, I can't remember which game it was, but he stayed on side and kept the play alive. Earlier in the series, I don't remember which game now, but that's the most notable, contribution. He almost surely got an assist on that play, but yeah, Carrier or Sabre. It was an expansion draft selection by Vegas.
I got to see if I can get him on one of these teams that I'm drafting. These 82-0 teams. Mm-hmm. I think he's probably. This is only you don't have to take this personally. He's probably a player, if you take him, you have no chance.
I would agree
to
with
go
that.
82-0.
Yeah, A 4-line team, there's some value there. You're putting together a 1-line team to try to win some sort of, computer simulation. That's probably not the guy you want to pick.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Want to play a little Would You Take?
Hit me up.
With the Bills schedule? So we talked to Joe Goodberry earlier. We're talking about other divisions and keeping the 1 seed dream alive. We know how big it is. I mean, Denver did get to the AFC Championship without a injured quarterback. They might have been in a blizzard.
Mm-hmm.
They might have won it. I mean, they were still very close to doing that. It's not the easiest example of like, it's not that big a deal because they had a couple of difficult circumstances. But you get through the Bills, you get New England at home.
Yeah, I mean, the weather is always who knows how that would have affected a guy who had played. But the fact that game was gettable, you might be able to assert, kind of like we like to with the Hurricanes in 2006. Like if we'd been healthy, I think if Knicks plays, maybe they're in the Super Bowl. I mean, maybe. I could see it. But, he did get hurt and it didn't happen.
That was all so strange.
Yeah, it was.
We're in here for post game. He makes that big throw to give them a chip shot field goal to win. And we're talking about the season's over and the players are crying. Mm-hmm. Allen is crying. And then, wait a minute. Sean Payton just said that Knicks broke his ankle.
It is out. Right.
Right.
I mean, obviously.
And then Knicks didn't like that, right? Knicks did not like that. Later on, whether that was after they lost to New England, there was a comment he made that suggested that, you know what? He shouldn't have said that. Something about it rankled him. Knicks.
Really? I don't remember that at all.
Oldest quarterback in the league, Bo Nix. Well, Rodgers, then Bo Nix.
Yeah.
That's the list. Top 2. All right, would you take, let's see, at Houston, Detroit on the Thursday night, at the Chargers. Would you take, or home to the Chargers, would you take 2-1? I'm a no. Because really that question for me is 3-0 versus 1-2 or worse.
Yeah. I mean, it's 2 home games out of the 3. I got to say no too. If I'm thinking about the 1 seed, right? It's a different exercise than if you're just trying to put together a good season, or maybe even a great season. Because I'll say 12 is a great season. I could maybe get you to 12 from 2-1 there, but I'm not. I don't think I'm getting to 13 or 14. And if that's what I need, then if I'm thinking about the 1 seed, I got to say no.
Well, it's up to you what you want to shoot for. I'm not telling you the 1 seed is because then we'll just say no to everything, right? Like you get to decide how available the 1 is based on this schedule and these possible results. Okay.
I think I did answer as though I was deciding.
Okay.
I didn't.
I'm not. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to get. This is not a 1 seed box.
Oh.
This is just whatever you think how the season needs to go, or just what you expect. Okay. I don't need to explain would you take anymore because you've played it numerous times.
The objective of the would you take question though is to end up contending for the 1 seed.
No, not
okay.
Specifically.
Okay.
It's just would you take this for the Bills? And if your goal is the 1, then that's different than somebody like you presented another hypothetical. Somebody else let's just get in. So of course I would take that or something like that.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Okay. All right. Well, for the purposes of this time, I want to strive for the 1. I don't want to close myself. Honestly, I think 2-1 in those 3 games would be a good job. It's not a great job, but it would be a good job. Those are good teams, if not great teams. But if I'm thinking about the 1, I think I got to have all 3 of them because 2 of them are at home, and I may need to beat out Houston for the 1.
That's
so
right.
I got to get them. So I got to go 3-0 there.
Or LA even.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
You get the Chargers in the body clock advantage.
Ooh, okay. Yeah,
10 a.m.
Yep.
Body clock time for the Chargers in that game. 1 o'clock our time. All right, so we're saying no to 2-1, right, officially. Are you saying yes to 4-1? I think yes.
Absolutely.
New England and then at the Rams.
Yes.
You would take 4-1.
Yes, I would.
You would not take 3-2.
No.
Kind of the same logic?
Yes, exactly.
Would you take 3-2 if the losses were to the Lions and Rams?
Still no.
Okay. I think I agree. Raiders, we're not worrying about that for this exercise. So would you take 5-2 at the Raiders, bye week, Baltimore? That's tough to say no to, I think. My thoughts on the Bills, I think they should be happy with 5-2. Happy. I think that this is better. I think that'd be good. I think 5-2 would look good for them, on them.
I think considering that you would have run through Houston, Detroit, the Chargers, New England once, and the Rams and Baltimore, 5-2 I think might even be a great job with that schedule.
Got to say yes to 5-2. Would you take 7-3? So you're 5-2. You've taken it. You've signed on the line for 5-2. At Minnesota, at the Jets, Miami.
No, I'm not giving you one of those games. I got to have all three of those. I mean, the Minnesota game is the only perceived challenging game even. And earlier, I think, when we first started today, after you get past the Dolphin and the Jet games, we were talking about what's the next easiest looking game. And
you said Vegas.
I said Vegas and then Minnesota. And then the rest of them are all, to me, equally somewhat challenging. Like those are the only games that even I would want to answer with, like, that's the next easiest game.
Minnesota, for me, is a team like Pittsburgh, where I'd like to be able to really hone in on what that is going to be. Kyler Murray, I mean, I know how you feel about Kyler Murray. It just every day it seems that there's just more hilarity about McCarthy and what Murray was talking again about, coming in here as the backup or something, and like nobody seems to be really taking him seriously when he says that stuff, because everybody seems to think there's we should talk to Matthew. Such a gap between Murray and McCarthy. Maybe. I'm not sure he would say that, but it seems like that's the consensus. So they did win 9 games with McCarthy and then whoever last year. They did go 9-8.
Right. Who
was that?
Who was the whoever? I don't remember.
You might be asking yourself.
I don't remember who was the whoever.
Who started their games.
I don't
10 for McCarthy. 5 for Wentz.
Oh, wow.
2 for Brosmer. Brosmer played at the end. There was a game in Seattle, then the game against Detroit. Though I think those were his 2 games. The game against Seattle was, yikes, in Seattle. Wentz played one of the games, if they had more than one, in Europe, and just got hit on every play, like Wentz tends to do.
Often does.
And I think he's back there. I think they brought him back. But it's Murray.
Right.
So where are we? You're saying no to
we're 8-2 after
7-3.
the Miami game. We're waiting to play Kansas City in Week 12, and we're 8-2. I think.
I mean, that you'd take that.
Yeah.
Chiefs, New England away. Would you take 9-3? I'm not saying they have to split those 2 games. I'm just drawing a line underneath the Patriot game and asking, would you take 9-3? How could you not?
Yeah, I think I have to. I think I have to.
Green Bay, Chicago. Would you take 10-4? Now you're in the 1 seed conundrum.
Right. Now because now you're talking about you got Miami and the Jets at the end, so that's a nice cushion, you hope. But you still have Denver on Christmas sitting there. And if I'm already to 4, right, is that where I am?
Would you take 10-4?
10-4.
After the Bears.
I think that would be a great job with that schedule.
Me too. I think I'd have to say yes.
But now I might be cooked, or I have absolutely no margin for error. I don't expect 12 to be the one. It could happen. We talked right at the outset of the show today about the other divisions, and finally maybe the AFC West will eat one another like we thought, or I thought was going to happen when Russell Wilson first went there. This is already years ago now. Maybe now they're equipped to do that to each other, and that can help you. But man, you're not, to me, four's got to be the most games you can lose to be the one, I think.
So with everything being said, would you take 12-5? Here we are again with this question. Last year, you mentioned it yesterday.
How 12-5, I think, is a great year.
How 12-5, you always have to say yes.
Yep.
The Bills literally went 12-5 last year, and they went on the road twice.
Right. I have to be. I can't walk away from that. The 12-5 being a great year, so I have to say yes. It's probably not. I don't think it's going to be the 1 seed. But 12-5 is a great year. That schedule, if they went 12-5 last year with that schedule, 12-5 against this schedule, at least sitting here today, I know it changes. Teams maybe don't end up being as good as we thought they were going to be or whatever. I always have to say yes to 12-5. It's like it's a brand for me at this point. Not quite, but
if somebody listening is thinking, well, I'll just be the person because I was listening to you.
Okay. Thank you for listening.
Yes, I respect all of that, but listen to yourself. If the goal is the 1, tell me what I'm losing if I don't accept 12 wins. What do I have then? Do I have 11? What's the difference? Do I have 10? What's the difference? If I have 9 or 8, that's bad.
Then I'm in trouble.
And then I'm out.
Yeah.
And so I don't want that. But I kind of think you could say this about 12, that I'll roll the dice on more because I think 10 or 11 is probably good enough. And if I can do better than 12 this way, I have a chance of that.
Okay.
And maybe I can get my 1 seed that way. Really, who would be the team in the AFC that has a better – I'm not saying there isn't one. Who would be the team in the AFC that would have better odds to finish as the 1 than the Bills? Is it the Ravens? Their Super Bowl odds might be a smidge better. Mm-hmm. Maybe that would answer that question. But you have Cincinnati. You even have Pittsburgh. That division has 3 teams that are maybe or probably playoff caliber, and the AFC East has 2, period. Would it be one of the South teams or even a Denver again or a Kansas City bounce back or L.A.? Who would be like the favorite? It wouldn't be New England.
It's not going to be New England, and I don't think it'll be the AFC West because of they have 3, I think, irrefutably good to great teams. So that should keep any one of them from getting to 13. So I don't think it'll be them. Of course, again, made the same mistake 4 or 5 years ago thinking that would happen, and it didn't until now, finally, last year when Kansas City was way, way down. It's not even like they weren't even a participant in the battle. They were gone. I think I would – it's so tricky because we've had this conversation for many years running, and it's always easy to sort of default to, well, is there a team I think is really, really good – in the AFC South, because that's easier. But even that's a little muddy now, because I don't know really what Houston is going to be. Their defense is excellent. I still think Jacksonville is the best team of the 4 teams out there. But I don't have to be right about the Colts. That the Colts were really good, and it came undone, and in part it was because Jones got hurt. And we were all kind of waiting for him and them, by virtue of him being their quarterback, to turn into a pumpkin. And then they did. It started before he got hurt, right? Like, it wasn't like he got hurt and they just fell off a cliff. They were already sort of spiraling, I think. But maybe they can find it again with him. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. Maybe Baltimore is the best answer. But, again, I don't know what... I'm not ready to trust Jacksonville or Houston, I guess.
Yep.
Is what I really want to say. Like
I understand
the
that.
AFC, come on. Like I know I settled on Jacksonville looked to be the scariest team in the pool last year when the playoffs rolled around. But it's still the 1 seed. They're gonna I don't know. They don't have to be that much better than Houston. So I don't know. I don't think I can get there. I don't think I can get there on them.
If Denver is really good, like Sam Monson is somebody who thinks that roster is like really good.
Yeah.
If they're really good, this is their first 6 games. At Kansas City, Monday night. Well, if they're really good, the Chiefs don't have to beat them. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Say Denver gets that game on the road. That'll look great on them.
Yep.
Jacksonville at home. Jacksonville won there last year.
It was the game that sort of turned me into a Jacksonville honk. Like I was like, look at this team.
So, still, Denver wins at Arrowhead. They're favored in that game.
Mm-hmm.
No, almost no matter. Jacksonville has the Browns. Almost no matter what, I think they're favored in that game. Home to the Rams in Week 3. At San Francisco. At the Chargers. Home to Seattle. That's their first 6.
Wow,
that is nice.
That is insane.
Would you take
2 and 4?
Would
yes.
you take 3 and 3?
What is that?
I think I would take 4 and 2 there.
Absolutely, I
for
would.
Denver.
Yeah.
Chiefs, Jaguars, Rams, Niners, Chargers, Seahawks. 3 are night games.
That's one of the worst opening 6-game stretches I've ever heard of in an NFL season.
Yesterday I said you were
That
talking.
is so tough.
We were talking about someone else and like, wow, look at this stretch at the end of the season. Like, are they all like that? I guess not.
Right.
Here's one that's front loaded.
Wow.
Although their whole thing, Arizona, okay. Kansas City again. Carolina, okay. Vegas, okay. At Pittsburgh, Miami, Jets. All right, that's a pretty soft little chunk.
Yeah,
6-7 weeks. Vegas again. And then Bills, Patriots, Chargers at the end. Bills on Christmas. So they could be 4 and 2. Then they could be 11 and 3.
Right.
And then Bills, Patriots, Chargers at the end. And then with
that
that kind of record, they're looking at maybe last year's opportunity over again.
Yeah, I want to say look out for them. If they get out of that opening stretch at 4 and 2, I'd be really wary of them.
All right. Remember that on Denver.
Yep. I will.
You think you will?
I will. I'm going to remember that.
It's going to stick?
It really stands out as one of the fiercest sounding openings to a season that I can recall, and sitting in here all these years talking with you. So I'm sure there's other years, other teams, but that is I don't even think Gauntlet. That is hellacious. That schedule to start.
Yeah,
they can go 4 and 2 there. They're in great shape, I think, with the rest of that schedule. You're going to spend that soft middle part.
This is Denver again.
Yeah.
At the Chiefs, week 1. Maybe you want the Chiefs to win. Are we doing that yet? I guess we just did.
Right.
Who do you root for in these other games? Maybe you root for Kansas City week 1 with Denver's potential if they can survive their first 6 weeks. I don't know. I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Let's see Denver back up that season. No matter what their schedule is, no matter what Sam thinks. Let's see them back that up. Knicks, I'm snubbing them right now.
Mm-hmm.
I am disrespecting them. Sal Capaccio, who would never do such a thing. Coming up next after the update, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
Another day of mandatory minicamp for the Buffalo Bills. Do stay tuned. We'll get the latest from today. Sal Capaccio joining the show next. There was some injury notes. Cole Bishop, when speaking with the media following practice today, did mention he had his knee cleaned up in the offseason, but he does expect to be ready to go by training camp. Some other notes in the league. Former Bills pass rusher A.J. Epinesa is signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. And the Chiefs, they are adding 2 years to Patrick Mahomes' current contract, making the total value now $504.75 million. That makes it the first NFL deal valued at over $500 million. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals not until tomorrow night, but today we got multiple reports that the NHL is moving forward with the investigation into Mike Babcock and the events in Columbus back in 2023. There does not appear to be any timeline, though, on how quickly this can be carried out, because if the Oilers do decide to no longer pursue Babcock as their head coach, the investigation will not happen, much like in 2023 when Babcock resigned from the Blue Jackets. And then the NBA Game 4 over in MSG. The Knicks host San Antonio, New York, holding that 2-1 series lead, and game time is set for 8:30. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Update on our World Cup draft. Round 3, pick 8, Paraguay. Sneaky Joe. That's Paraguay. Sneaky Joe. USA's first opponent, Friday, Paraguay.
I didn't know Joe hated America.
I didn't either. I felt like it was maybe, but
yeah,
what a stance. He's just Mr. Analytics, isn't he? Sneak. That's USA Paraguay Friday night, I think 9 o'clock our time in L.A. Sal Capaccio, an important part of our World Cup draft, on the board with Sweden in round 7. Just so you know, you don't have to call Sal and bother him. Brazil, Turkey, and Sweden, his team so far. Sal, are you a World Cup fan?
I am a World Cup pageantry fan, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not a big soccer fan from a standpoint of I watch a lot of it. I don't know much about these teams. I'll talk with Nick Mendola and learn about the teams, you know what I mean? But I love the pageantry of the World Cup. I love watching it from that standpoint. I'll be, tuned into watching the USA play, and I have literally picked my teams based on the betting odds. That's how I've gone about this year.
All right, makes sense. That's a smart way to do it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I get the sense you're struggling with your voice a little bit here, so we'll try to make it easy for you. What was the...
Yeah, and it hasn't happened in a while, but you know what? That's what happens when you coach 3 baseball teams, I guess, and it's that time of year.
Sal, have you ever heard of a thing called signals in baseball? Maybe try giving signals.
That's funny, but I do notice, like you guys know, I'm a talker anyway, but I am the coach who's always yelling to everybody on base what to do. Hey, in the air, hold up, on the ground, you gotta go. That's like the normal, like every single inning, every single batter, basically.
It'd be tough to not be able to do that if that's your style as a baseball coach, to sort of not have the ability to shout out these messages constantly. Was there a highlight of the day out there?
Yeah, I thought there were a couple of them, actually. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was really good today. He actually had an interception later, and I apologize. I don't know who threw the interception. It could have been Josh. It might have been someone else. But earlier before that, he had 2 back-to-back plays where one he actually dropped an interception that he should have had from Josh Allen throwing it. And then Josh went right back after him on the next play. It was a deep ball. He seemed to be beat, but he actually recovered and made a great play to knock it down. And, these guys all say they're loud. He's loud. He's a loud player. Well, he was loud after that. He was letting it be known, but he that's the way he operates. I mean, when C.J. Gardner-Johnson is on the field for sure. And then Keon Coleman, I posted some video. He had a great catch in the early portion of just individual drills. There's no defense, but he really climbed the ladder, got the ball, came down 2 feet in bounds. And then what I wrote was the play of the day was actually, to me, a tryout wide receiver named Devin Tompkins was deep, and Shane Buechele found him And this kid laid out for a ball like he was like lateral to the ground basically, and he caught it. It was a great catch.
I know that name. How do I know it? Has he been around the league, like as a practice squad guy or something? Devin Tompkins.
Yeah, he's been on the Panthers and the Buccaneers, and I think he was on the Falcons practice squad last year.
Okay. Coleman, I had some reason from what happened yesterday, maybe from reading you or hearing it somewhere else, to want to bring Coleman up today, other than the fact that that's the law, that we always talk wide receivers no matter what. Is there any new sort of perspective on him, either from a trusted source like Allen or Brady, or just are we in the same place where what we've been basically talking about for months coming off of last season with him? Is there any sort of fresh perspective on Coleman?
I would say no. I would say it's all basically, I'll go back to the Buddy Nix line on WGR many years ago. Nobody wants to hear about the labor pains, just show me the baby. I think we're there with Keon Coleman. You know, nobody cares about whatever we all have to say or the videos that I post that shows how well he's doing. He's having a really good camp. He had a great camp last year. It doesn't matter now. He's got to go do it. As far as all the off-the-field stuff, I mean, there's nothing to report from a bad or good sense. Like, it just seems like he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is great. But he did that last year too. The proof is going to be when this starts to happen in the regular season, when it matters on the field, when it matters off the field. So there's nothing to report from there. I will say I made a mental note today to think about how much I believe I see Josh Allen throwing to him. Like, I just kind of noticed it. And he's made some plays. He made another really good one today. Outside of this individual play I was talking about, during 11-on-11, he had another really nice catch over the middle. They're not hitting each other. It's a little easier to catch over the middle like that, but he's done that quite a bit. Like yesterday, same thing. It's funny you asked that, Mike, because while we don't have any anybody talking about this specifically, I made a mental note today to say, you know, it just feels to me like Josh is throwing it to him a little bit more than normal.
Bulldog, would you have had this thought to talk about him today? Was there something?
Yeah, I saw, you know what, I did see, I did not go into the story, but our buddy Matt Perino from Syracuse.com, co-host of that Shout podcast with Ryan Talbot, had a day one of minicamp recap, and one of the headlines there was something about Coleman, like Coleman impressing early or something along those lines. And so that was I saw that. You know what my reaction to that was? Oh, here we go.
Right.
This was last.
That's what I mean.
That's why you got the baby in the delivery line. Right? It's just because last summer I bought it. I was like, 65 catches, 6 touchdowns. It's coming. He looks great here in the summer. And, you know, a few weeks later he was, you know, benched. So it's like I'm with you on the, you know, like show me the baby sort of thing, because that was, you know, this is not a commentary about, you know, Matt's reporting or anything.
No, but that's right.
It's like an eye roll. Like, okay, he looks great now. That's wonderful.
Right, because we
have to do
tomorrow,
that,
right?
Right?
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, and sorry, Bulldog, but yeah, we have to do that. We have to report what we see.
Right.
And he's looking good, and it's our job to tell you that. But listen, you can go to the comments underneath, like the video that I posted, and it's one after the other of, oh, well, here we go. Once again, another, you know, great camp, but who cares? Like, he's going to be a bust. He's not going to do it in the regular season. Like, I mean, it's one after the other. And honestly, like, I get it. I get why people do that. It's not my natural reaction to do something like that or think something like that. But I absolutely understand a Bills fan just going like, I don't really care about this. I care about what he's doing in the regular season.
Has he talked yet, Coleman?
He talked yesterday, if I remember. No, it was maybe the week before that. Maybe the week before that he did. And
during OTAs, yeah.
Yeah, during OTAs, because you know why, Mike? He was asked specifically about what he thought about the press conference when his name came up from Terry Pegula. And he said, you know, didn't bother him. He didn't think much about it. He just knows he has to do a job. And he did say that Joe Brady did call him that night that he became the head coach to talk to him. And, you know, how Joe has said the best thing that happened to Keon Coleman, I told him, was from me being his head coach. Like, he basically confirmed that was the conversation. And, you know, he knows. He also said, like, I have to remember the exact quote, but it was something to the effect of, like, I know I need to put up or shut up. Like, I need to do this year. Like, this is what I got to do.
I'm taking a bit of a leap here, I know. Nothing other we've had this speculation, this running conversation about like what would Joe Brady have wanted to do if McDermott hadn't been here? You know, whether that's anything, starting with maybe offensive scheme or whatever. I'm not sure and this is secondhand. I'm not sure it has to be something that meaningful, but I want to say there's nothing he's said yet that's more telling in that direction than that line about Coleman. Like, what does it mean for Brady to say that to Coleman? It doesn't mean he's the offensive coordinator already. It's not like he's going to necessarily get the ball more because, you know, Brady was also had command over that as the best extent that a coach can. But it implies that, listen, you're going to be handled differently now, right? I'm the boss now, and it might not be as tough on you. I might not be as tough on you as McDermott. Again, I'm making some leaps, but...
Yeah, or let me just add in here, Sal, maybe it's a little bit of, I'm going to make this so much fun for you that you're going to be on time.
Okay.
Sure.
Maybe that's
you're going to want to come to work?
Right, yeah. You're going to want to
set
2 alarms or 3.
All the same thing.
Whatever, right. Yeah, it is, right.
It could be that. I mean, and, you know, I mean, organizationally, I don't know exactly what the things are inside the building when he gets suspended, when he gets, you know, benched. But that's more Sean McDermott, I'm sure, than it is Joe Brady, although I'm not saying Joe Brady wouldn't be on board with that.
Yep.
I don't know, right? So to that extent, right, it's, you know, Sean McDermott makes the decision early in the week, you know, that's going to happen. And I don't know how much something like that impacts, you know, Keon Coleman down the road and each week and from a week-to-week basis. And again, no one's going to it'd be terrible if you guys excuse him for being late or anything like that. You don't want to do that. But yeah, there seems to be an implication that something will be different on that front, the way that he's handled. I like the way you put that. I don't know what that is. I also just think this is what people do to try and instill confidence in people, right? No doubt. We all know that. You say something like that, you give them a phone call, you let them know we believe in you. We have confidence in you. The best thing happened to you is me. You get the guy energized to want to come to work for you every day. I think that's probably part of it.
I want to double check this, and I was just trying to on my phone unsuccessfully. But I think in fantasy, I don't think Coleman gets picked. Like 18 rounds times 12, 200 players. I don't think he gets picked. I think everybody's off him, which if his head is on right, could be just what you need.
There could be some real value there. Yeah.
No pressure now. I mean, it hasn't worked out here yet. And everybody seems kind of done. I will double check that, and my guys at ADP Chasing would be embarrassed for me that I don't know this already, but I don't think he gets picked.
Just want to mention quickly before we get, because I have something I want to ask you about Josh Palmer here. But since I think we've been talking, I apologize if this is old news, but it came across my face while we've been talking. The Eagles have signed A.J. Epinesa. So at least one of the former defenders on the Bills that had yet to find a team here into June, it appears, has found a team. I mean, he did sign originally, I forget where, Cleveland?
Cleveland.
And then there was a physical problem or something, and so that didn't take. But it looks like the Eagles are signing Epinesa. I wanted to ask you about Palmer, speaking of receivers, and just how much is sort of, what's riding on him this year, and how invested in him do you think the Bills are? I feel like this came up late with you yesterday, late in our visit anyway, yesterday, and you sort of matter-of-factly said, like, there's savings to be had there, and if he can't stay on the field, I just wonder, like, how big, feels like maybe a big spring and summer for Josh Palmer.
Yeah, I think so too, and, you know, we talked with him today, actually. It's funny you bring that up. We actually talked with Josh Palmer today a little bit after practice, and, you know, just talked to him about his body last year and, you know, getting injured and what that meant for him, and somebody asked him, do you view this year as a reset? And he said, no, I don't view it as a reset. I still think that, you know, he said, but I learned a lot. And one of the things that, you know, you learn when you go through injuries is not necessarily, I asked him if he thought he pushed himself a little too much after the Atlanta injuries, because then he tried to come back. He said, I wouldn't say push, but you do learn that you have to kind of take it the right way, right? You have to rehab the right way to make sure that you're available. And it probably did cost him a little more time at the end of the year because he wanted to be on the field. Everything about him today, you know, basically said to me that he really wants to be on the field. He wants to help his team. And maybe that was part of the issue with, you know, having some injuries later in the year. He did, I think, basically, he said his words were, I'm washing away year one, still left a bad taste in my mouth, especially not being able to play with the guys down the stretch. And I think the team, Brandon Beane, last year, that was his free agent signing, right? That was the receiver that he brought in to help out the offense. It was Josh Palmer. I know that they signed Elijah Moore right after the draft, but that was his guy. I think he did that because he really believed Josh Palmer would really help this offense with his skill set, like man-to-man, can beat, off the line, really good route runner. I have to believe that he still believes that it's not the injuries impacted him. I can't think that Brandon Beam would go, you know what, that was just it's not going to work out. To me, I would think that if you had faith in 1 year ago, but the only thing that really happened were injuries, why would you not have faith the next year? Now, can he stay healthy? That becomes the question.
Want to play our Would You Take game real quick? We won't go through the whole schedule.
Sure.
Your voice is struggling a little bit. But would you take 12-5 this year for the Bills? And would you have to?
Absolutely.
Would you have to say yes?
Oh,
You
my
would say
God.
yes. Okay.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Would you take 11?
I mean, I think 11 is good. I think you go to 11-6, you're in the playoffs, and you have a legit shot to win the division. I think it's got to be – I'm taking 11. I'm probably not taking 10. I'm playing it out.
11, probably 12, definitely. Very good.
Yeah, last year the Steelers made the playoffs with a bad record because they won the division, a lesser record.
10.
But the worst wild card was 11 wins. I mean, you had to get to 11. I mean, that's taking a chance, but to me, you can win the division with 11, but you should be able to make the playoffs with 11.
Very good. Rest up. Thanks for your time, Sal.
All right, guys.
That's our Sal Capaccio on the West Her Hotline. His appearances are brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, is the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
Devin Tompkins, who Sal mentioned, had a highlight reel catch today. 29 NFL receptions over 4 seasons, Tampa Bay, Carolina, Atlanta. He's finally gotten out of the NFC South. Coleman, ADP at Underdog, 214. There are 216 picks in an 18-round, 12-team draft. So he's right. I'm sure a lot of times he gets picked and a lot of times he doesn't.
Right.
Really, for me, it would depend on, do I have Allen? Do I have Dolphins? Because week 17 is Bills-Dolphins. You want to win the big money, Bulldog. You want to make sure, if it's possible.
Yeah.
But you don't have Dolphins because who are the Dolphins you would have? Malik Washington?
H-N.
Greg Dulcich? Malik Willis. I mean, the Dolphins are not rich when it comes to fantasy value. Bills, I mean, it's another year where I almost can't get to anybody. I mean, Kincaid a little bit. Sal was talking him up yesterday. He's another guy.
I'll believe that's sort of like Coleman. I'll believe that when I see it, that he can play more than 40% of the snaps week over week over week.
That they want him to.
That they want him to. That they feel. I feel like they should want him to. I can't be sure that they do, but I think they do, and I think it's always been physical. That they're worried about pitch count with him.
Who comes off the field? Shakir, I guess. Sometimes. Lines open for your calls at 803-0550. This is Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. I don't think it was a Steve Palazzolo tweet, but it was a comment from him on a tweet that felt good to me. It was a picture of an old baseball all-star ballot. Did you see it?
Yes, I did. I thought about quote tweeting it because
so true.
I have the same memories. Maybe either the first or the second time I went to Riverfront as a little kid was at the time of the season where the ushers came around with those ballots, and I loved the whole idea. The whole process was just so cool to me.
Someone tweeted, like, it could take 2 innings to do this. I'm like, longer.
Right.
It was so much fun. Yep. I loved that. A little bit of nostalgia. Yep. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. This is WGR.
Another day of mandatory minicamp. There was some injury notes today. Cole Bishop, when speaking with the media following practice, did mention that his knee cleaned up during the offseason, but he does expect to be ready to go for training camp. And for more on today and yesterday, our own Zach Pancho has pieces up at our website, WGR550.com. Some other notes around the league. Former Bills pass rusher A.J. Epinesa is signing with the Eagles. Dolphins signed center Aaron Brewer to a 3-year, $52.5 million extension that does include $37 million guaranteed. And the Chiefs are adding 2 more years to Patrick Mahomes' current contract, making now the total value of that contract $504.75 million. That is now, first time in NFL history, a deal valued at over $500 million. Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Final is tomorrow night. Today, however, multiple reports do have the NHL moving forward with the investigation into Mike Babcock and the events in Columbus back in 2023. There does not, though, appear to be any timeline for how quickly this can be carried out, because if the Oilers ultimately decide to no longer pursue Babcock as their head coach, the investigation will not happen, much like in 2023 when Babcock resigned from the Blue Jackets. We do, though, have some finals action tonight. It's in the NBA, Game 4 in New York. The Knicks do host San Antonio, New York holding that 2-1 series lead. Game time is set for 8:30. And then in baseball, Bison's home tonight versus Syracuse. First pitch in just about a half hour. You can listen to that game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Zach Jones for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Mike Schopp.
We were having a very serious conversation about mayonnaise here.
And the Bulldog.
And don't even talk to me about weed.
On WGR, Sports Radio 550.
I know a lot of you want to know. We're watching Reds Padres today. That's our game day showtime entertainment in here is Reds Padres. Terry Francona's Reds lead 3-2 in the 7th. Just looking at Francona during the break, I asked Bulldog, where do you think he ranks all-time in wins, manager wins? Top 20? And you said yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. He's 11th all-time in wins.
Good thing you didn't ask top 10. And I answered affirmatively.
Would you have said yes to top 10? I would not have.
I don't think I would have. Top 20 I felt like was safer. Yeah.
Okay. My asking top 20 was my kind of saying, I don't know. But 11th. And he's the only active manager with more than 1,000 wins. And he has 2,065. So no one is on his heels.
No one's touching him yeah, right.
First all-time, so 2,065. First all-time is Connie Mack, 3,731. And then second is Tony La Russa, 28. John McGraw, the late Bobby Cox, Joe Torre. I mean, a couple more... What's a good year? 90 wins?
Yeah.
5 90-win seasons, 450 gets him to fourth. How old a guy is he? Played in the 80s.
Yeah.
65?
I would guess he's in his 70s.
67.
Okay, good job by you.
He's from South Dakota.
I never knew that.
Terry Francona, who I've never wanted to call Tito because his dad was Tito.
Right.
We already have a Tito Francona, but everybody calls him Tito. Right. His dad was a ball player. It's kind of interesting that he would have been born in South Dakota. A lot of players are born where their dads played.
Right.
Maybe that was the case. He was in the minors or something at that time. I don't know.
Philly's the dad? Or am I might be conflating Francona's career with the Phillies as a manager, right? He's the manager of that bunch that lost to the Blue Jays, right? Is he there for that?
93? No.
Yeah, no. Okay.
Jim Fregosi.
Oh, right. Okay.
You got the Fur.
Yeah.
The Fur.
He did at least manage the Phillies for a time, though, Francona.
He did.
Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't completely high.
Phillies, Red Sox. How many titles is that of the 4?
I think it's the first 2 only. Cora's the last one. I think it's the first 2. I think by the time they win in 13, it's somebody else. John Farrell maybe.
Okay.
He was only the manager for a short time, but I think maybe he won a World Series there. So I think Francona's only 04 and 07.
Okay, I think you're right. Then he goes to Cleveland for a while.
Yeah, he's there a long time.
Such a likable
Yeah.
baseball guy.
Yeah.
Baseball lifer, Terry
Yeah.
Francona, now with the Reds.
Yeah.
And he was out of the game, seemingly maybe retired, and returned after at least 1 year away from Cleveland. He'd be in this, what?
There was I don't have it exactly. There was recently, I think somebody on his team or in a game they were playing, somebody got hit in the lower abdominal region, and it was revealed that this player was not wearing a cup. And Francona, like afterwards, was just like, I put the cup on as soon as I get as soon as I get to work. Like it's such a habit for him. Like
as a manager.
Yeah, I swear to God, it was he. No, you know what? I'm conflating two different stories. There's something else about walking around naked. I think too that he's pretty it's a clubhouse.
That's what you do.
That's what you do. You walk around naked in the clubhouse. He's one of those guys. He's the old guy at the gym. Just, I think that's it. I apologize if I'm conflating two different stories about Francona. But anyway,
probably done it.
I mean, it's impossible. I mean, he's the manager of the Red Sox team that breaks the curse. He's one of my favorite figures in baseball.
Is he maybe your all-time manager favorite? I have mine.
I guess maybe yeah. I really liked Don Zimmer, and he's the Red Sox manager in '78.
Bucky Dent.
Yeah. And I liked him so much as a kid, and even later he's a bench coach with the Yankees. I still love Don Zimmer. He's just a very likable baseball character, I would say. But Francona probably, if I had to really sit down and think about it, yeah. I mean that team. I mean they're it's one of the greatest stories in baseball. Is that they came back from 3-0 down and beat the Yankees, and then so yeah, he'd be my answer. I think.
Did you dislike Joe Torre?
No,
me neither.
No, I did not dislike.
I like Joe Torre.
Yeah,
not a Yankees fan, but I liked him.
Yeah,
mine's got to be Davey.
Right.
86 Mets. I mean, I don't know how good of a job he did. I don't know. Is that always the thing with managers?
Yeah, you probably want to give him some degree of. Well, he held it all together. There were a lot of, it's like Marv with there were a lot of strong personalities there, and they managed to, there was fighting, there was dissension even on the team. They were like a brawling, beer blast kind of team, I think, and they got it done. So there's some art to that. Like even if it's chaos, like I had to allow the chaos. I knew enough not to interrupt the chaos. Because this is who they are, and they're doing their thing.
I watch Game 6, Game 7, 86 World Series often. I rewatch those games, every once in a while. I got nothing to do. That is something I'll think about, fairly often. And I think it's Game 7. That would make sense. There's an interview. Davey Johnson is interviewed in the dugout before the game by Joe Garagiola. And a couple of the questions were along the lines of, all right, so what's your message? What have you told the starting pitcher, who I think was Game 7? Might have been Ojeda or Darling. I don't even know. It's embarrassing. But, one question is, so what did you say? This is Game 7 of the World Series. What's your message to the guys? I don't really have one. They know what to do. I don't really think I need to tell them what to do at this point. And I love that.
They don't need a fiery, this is the moment of your lives speech from me here.
No, and he says it just like that, too. I don't really have a message, Joe. I just,
yeah,
it's up to them at this point.
It's game 188 or whatever.
I love that. I mean, instead of, I don't want there to be a message, and if there isn't one, I don't want you to pretend that there's this message. Just, be real. And he was like, I really don't know what to say at this point.
Actually, Joe, it's in God's hands.
He could have said that.
Back to you, Al.
And then in the second question is about again talking to the starting pitcher before the game. What do you want to see him do, or what do you? It's really not really. He's got it. I mean, I don't really need to tell him what to do at this point. And John, no part of him is standoffish or difficult.
Right. Just matter of fact.
You know what, Joe? He doesn't make fun of Joe. He doesn't He's not difficult. He just sort of says, well.
I'd like him to throw some strikes. It'd be good.
We've kind of said it all at this point, and just one more game. We'll see what happens. Okay, Davey. Back to you, Vin, right? I mean, I love that about Johnson. That was my team. If I were a little bit older, maybe I would have gotten to Sparky Anderson. I don't really have a take on Sparky Anderson.
The Reds were my first crush as a it's the first stadium I went to. I went there twice before I went to any other stadium, I'm pretty sure. Riverfront, and the guy's name is Sparky.
Sparky.
Like
George Sparky Anderson.
You're 8 years old. There's a guy named Sparky on TV. I like that guy.
He cast a certain figure.
Yes, he did.
He was kind of small.
He's small, and he walked with the hands in the back pockets.
The hands in the back pocket.
That is such a move. Nobody.
Isn't that the best?
Nobody does that anymore. Walking around with the hands in the back pockets. Like you're I think, throwing up a flag that says I'm a rube if you're walking around with your hands in both back pockets.
Oh, you think it's bad?
I just got to the big city. What's going on in here? Huh? Oh, they got some tall buildings. Like I don't know, the hands in the back pockets. That's just like.
Well, in fairness,
there
are no
off
front
the bus
pockets.
In Times Square.
There are no front pockets on baseball pants.
That's a good point.
The only pockets you have are back pockets.
We're sure about that? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
He did do that. I love that you thought of that. He did do that, Anderson. And no one else did that?
I don't remember.
There have to be other guys who did that.
Probably.
They're the only pockets you have.
But
you want some pockets, those are your pockets.
Yeah.
But he would walk to the mound.
Yeah.
With it. Unless he had the jacket on. Then he put them in the jacket pockets.
The front pockets. But he did not walk with his hands at his sides at all.
I'm walking to the mound now.
I guess I got to admit, I'm not even sure he had hands at this point. That's where I'm at on Sparky.
Does a manager need hands?
Right.
We learned from Sal he needs a voice. We don't know if he needs hands. The third base coach needs hands.
How would he fill out the lineup card? You could have somebody else do that. Right. That's fine.
He just has to be able to speak. Sparky Anderson talk. No one else is doing that today.
Just days you walk out of a job like this and just think, I got to say that today.
That was really fun.
What the heck?
Somewhat continuing along these lines, card of the day just posted. My staff was a little bit late to this today. Card of the day. Take a look at this card, Bulldog, if you don't mind.
I'm on my way.
On Twitter, 1982 Fleer Baseball, Gaylord Perry, Hall of Famer, just like Anderson. Hall of Fame pitcher, Gaylord Perry. There is a lot to say about this picture. Not everybody can look at it right now. 82 Fleer, if you want to see it when you get home. It's on the stream now, too. Thank you. He is sitting in a chair with a, what is this chair? He is sitting on a cushion. He's sitting on a box. He's sitting on something on a chair with a bat across his lap and two hands on the bat, which he's a pitcher, by the way. And he's not playing baseball here. He's just sitting there. Nobody else is in the shot. What is this background? Like maybe up against a bullpen wall or something. There's dirt. Yeah. And then you've got these wires going on behind him. What are those wires?
TV stuff or something. Maybe this is a camera bay.
So is he maybe behind the plate? Or off to the side behind the plate?
Like where those camera bays, I think, are on either side of the dugout.
Okay, like up the line by the dugout.
Yeah, is where I'm thinking that could be there.
But there's just no signage. There's no visible sign of anything else.
There wouldn't have been much signage.
No, that's right.
Anywhere, really, in those days.
That's right. On the outfield walls, there would be signs. There'd be logos.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. I'm guessing maybe this is Philadelphia, but look at this frumpy... He's got gray sideburns.
Yeah, this is not.
He's late in his career.
Yeah.
He's staring down the camera person probably, and I would think the person taking this picture is pretty far away because it's not a close up. It's just you can see his whole body is in the picture. Sitting. What is he sitting on?
That's a chair. And what I think he's doing, because it looks a little like it's a folding chair and it's folding up on him, but I think what he's doing is leaning back on the rear two legs and the front two legs are off the ground. You can see right behind his left leg. you can see the one leg of the chair that is up off the ground, I
Yes.
think. And then, actually, I see the one behind his right leg now, too. So I'm sure that's what he's doing.
You're
he's
right.
leaning back in a chair, that dangerous game that you like to play when you're a little kid, maybe even at a restaurant. Let me see if I can balance on right?
But he's up against the wall.
But he's up against the wall, so there's some, he's got, he's not up on the high wire.
This is
really.
kind of fun and comfortable. And he's just sitting, so he's maybe sitting next to a dugout with a bat on his lap, doing that with the chair. And somebody is like out at third base maybe and takes the picture of him, and it's on a baseball card.
And where does a chair like that exactly come from?
I know.
Do they have a stack of those like lawn chairs in the dugout, or in the clubhouse, or in the tunnel between the dugout and the clubhouse? And like these are here for your convenience if you'd like to have a picnic on the warning track. Like I don't understand what the chair is doing there.
That chair would be for like a bat boy.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's right. That makes sense.
Maybe he's the bat boy.
Or a ball
he
boy
is holding
up
a
the
bat.
line even. Yeah.
He is holding a bat in his lap.
Right.
And he's not holding it by the handle.
No.
Have you ever held a bat like that?
I don't think he's actually holding it. It's lying across his lap.
Okay, but his hands are in front of it?
His wrists are on the bat. I think his wrists are resting on the bat, and his fingers are almost touching the chair.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't want to accuse him of holding the bat in a weird way because it looks like it's just laying there.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gaylord Perry. If somebody's taking batting practice right now and fouls one in your direction, you're not going to get that bat in position to have much defense.
You're in real trouble.
You're down. You're in trouble.
And you're leaning back on two legs of the chair, and even though that wall is there, you might take a topple if a screaming liner comes your way.
I do not have a fond opinion of Gaylord Perry. It's not because of this picture.
It's because he cheated?
It's that Poznansky book that did the top 100. I think it was called the Baseball 100. And there's a chapter on him, and it's not flattering.
Can I ask for details?
I don't really remember
details.
I just know that I came away like
yeah.
Like Necro didn't cheat like Perry with the spitter, but Necro comes off. I loved his chapter in the book. And the part, I told you the story. His 300th win, Phil Necro, at Toronto, day after the Blue Jays clinch in 85. So it's like not an important game. Maybe all the backups are in for the Blue Jays. And Necro decided he was going to win his 300th game and not throw one knuckleball. So he went 8 no-hit innings. Without throwing one knuckleball. The legend has it.
Just kept sneaking everything by people because they're waiting for the knuckleball.
And they're all hungover because they won the pennant, the division the day before. So something like that. Like last game of the season, Necro's going for 300th win, and he goes 8 no-hit innings without throwing a knuckleball. And he would never have come out in the 80s.
Right.
It's the last game of the year anyway, and he could have probably thrown 200 pitches in a game the way he pitched. Right. So then his brother comes out. Joe Necro was on the team. And he comes out to catch the warm-up inning in the 9th. Maybe on purpose, or maybe the catcher had just batted.
But, okay.
So, poetic here.
Yeah,
Joe Necro is going to come out to catch the warm-up pitches for the 9th. And he might have thrown a knuckleball to his brother warming up. And then he decided to do it. And somebody got a hit.
Oh, no.
So he lost a no-hitter, but I think he might have gotten the shutout. He won the game, 300 wins.
But didn't one of those two, isn't there a famous...
Emery Board.
That
was right. Joe Necro.
Okay, all right, not Phil. Yeah.
And the last part of that chapter...
The umpire comes out, if you don't know it, like the umpire comes out, and he's got this thing in his back pocket, and he pulls it out of his back pocket and flips it away like you would try to do if you got pulled over and you're trying to get something out the window. Like, you're just like, oh, what are you talking about? I don't have an Emery Board.
Back to the back pockets.
Right.
More back pockets. In the Necro chapter, his dad was very ill at the time of that game, too, and was listening from a hospital. And it mentions that, and then it mentions that when Phil Necro was a prospect, was coming up and being scouted, somebody went to his house and said, how's whatever the number is, how's $100 a week, something like that, to pitch in our system. And the dad said, we can't afford that. The dad thought the scout was charging them.
Right.
To pitch for the Braves or whoever.
Yeah.
Our chat with Joe Goodberry next on WGR.